Hey everybody, welcome to the Late Horror Show, Star Wars Geek Out Extravaganza.
The show I've been waiting for 4 years.
Yeah, Ted's been telling me about this forever. He wants to do this,
for them to make some more movies, so I'd have more to talk about.
Yeah, we'll start that. You know what? Star Wars Geek Out. This is going to be an extra. We're going to go over every single movie. People in the chat. Hey, Angie Workman is there.
Hey, my little sister's in the chat.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Check out her channel. Anyways, and she might join us eventually down the road.
We're working on a guest star appearance.
Yeah, so there you go.
It's coming.
But yeah, again, no horror this week. We wanted to do this forever.
That's right.
We are going to talk everything Star Wars, especially when it's relevant. The new trailer that dropped with the Rise of Skywalker. Let's go let's do a little.
What are we doing?
We're going to.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch the trailer real quick and then give you our reactions.
Again?
Everybody in the chat, I'll throw some names out there in a second. We're gonna look at this trailer real quick, and we'll be right back.
We've passed on all we know. A 1,000 generations live in you now. But this is your fight.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Would you miss the little part where the Star Wars comes up?
Yeah.
So there you go. They show you next to nothing.
Next. Well, yeah, it's it is what it is.
We're gonna go a little out of order. Talk about.
We're gonna talk about
the
this
new
one. Yeah.
That's what y'all want to know about.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
How did I feel about it?
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I think it was a bunch of nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, you go and show everything, and I understand.
Not enough Chewbacca.
It's coming to it. Not enough Chewie.
Not enough Chewie.
I know it's coming to an end, so they got to do it. Start from the beginning.
And there was much rejoicing.
And then a little bit of Rise of Skywalker, and they're being very elusive with
as they always
details.
Are. Historically.
That's fine.
So here's what I think.
But the whole big thing with the
end there.
Did
it show that part?
It didn't. It's probably the wrong trailer.
Oh, he showed you the wrong trailer. The part with Rey and
the red and the eyes of C-3PO and stuff like that.
And the red saber, because if you have a red saber, you have to be a bad guy.
Right. So I think that's misdirection. All that other good stuff.
Oh, 100%.
I think no way is anything like that going to happen.
You think in the course of 2.5 hour movie they're going to turn her bad and turn her back?
Yeah, but go ahead. What do you think?
It's obviously some kind of vision, a la, maybe say like what Luke had in the cave in Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. Sort of that vision of Vader, and they fight, and he sees that little image of himself in the mask. I think it's something reminiscent of that. Maybe a little vision of what she could be.
Okay.
For that case, what any Jedi could be if they wanted to go bad. I mean, it's not.
Yeah. Misdirection, right?
And they've done that in every single trailer.
Yeah, misdirection.
In the first trailer, you saw what's his nuts.
What's his
Finn holding the lightsaber, and you saw the lightsaber flying, and you thought that guy had it. No, it was Rey who did it. It was just how they edited it together.
Yeah, I hear you.
Now the only thing,
you got more info there.
The only thing of interest
Yeah.
you guys might be interested in is, I've read online a bit here and there. There's always theories, but on one of the forums I visit, I don't participate, but I visit. There's a guy who released a synopsis of what the movie would be about in general, and this is the same dude that released what Last Jedi would be about, and he was pretty spot on. So a lot of people think that this might be kind of what it's about. And just like what the big story seems to be, is that this Poe guy and Finn and Rey and Chewie and all them, they're going to sort of, while all this other bad stuff's going down with Resistance and First Order, there's a side mission going on.
Yeah.
Where I think maybe they're looking for like the holocron, or if like some from the old comics and stuff like that, or something of Luke that they are going to broadcast throughout the entire galaxy. And to do it, they need a big enough antenna. And it just so happens in the old Death Star wreckage, there is an antenna. And you see, I think in the first trailer, a little bit of the wreckage of the Death Star. And I believe that's what Rey and Kylo Ren are fighting on in this trailer. They're fighting on wreckage of the Death Star. And they need to get that to broadcast,
garbage pile,
to broadcast this message, and that's the rise of Skywalker. I have a feeling
like that they're playing or fighting in a junkyard.
And I have a feeling. I read this online, and I think somebody might
I have
be
a
right.
feeling.
I think there's not going to be any more Jedi and Sith. I think they're going to call them Skywalkers now.
Really?
Wouldn't that be kind of neat?
Call
like
them
all the
Skywalker.
Force-sensitive people will be called Skywalkers.
Okay. I can.
Rise of Skywalker.
I guess
don't
I
know,
can see
maybe.
that.
I have a feeling the Emperor will be back in Palpatine will be back in some fashion.
Okay.
I don't think that's a complete MacGuffin there, just putting him in the trailer. I think he's behind the scenes of it somehow.
Right. Okay.
And just we'll see. And that's honestly, that's really all I know. I'm not.
Well, right. There's
These
not a whole
sequel
lot of
movies haven't
information out
interested me
there.
a whole lot. We're talking about this one first because it's all brand new stuff, and then we'll go through all of them. And
yeah.
I got good and bad to say about every single movie in the whole
Oh,
series.
and again, we're fans.
And I love them.
There's not a movie in this. Let me give shout outs really quick to who's here.
Yeah, who we got?
Ted's sister, Angie Workman. Go, check
She's
out
got
her
some
channel.
funny videos. Go check her out.
We got Ronnie, Suburban Cowboy. Always here. Fiend, Anthropomantic Fiend. Nice to see you here. White Tim is here. Batman, Gary Projects. R-rated horror commentary podcast, who just put up commentary that me and him did on his channel, Evil Tunes, which we did a commentary about not that long ago. Yeah, we did Evil Tunes.
I remember doing Evil Tunes.
But so there's the shout-outs. But
I can't remember all the movies we did.
Every movie in the Star Wars saga franchise,
We're talking about all of them. This is going to be a big show.
There's not one I didn't sit down and say, this was terrible. I can't sit and watch this ever again. Is there?
Yeah, there is.
Well, there's a couple that I'm like, but I enjoyed all of them for what they were, what it was worth. I mean, it's. Yeah.
But if any of you are huge, I want you all to try to call me out. I'll engage in any kind of civil discussion. I got stuff to say about
Horror
each and every
Gang,
one
the
of these
Manhammer, what is up?
Hey, I'm glad we got a good group here.
Yeah, this is going to be fun, man.
Yes. Any question, man? Any idea? Any
throw out questions if you got theories,
out.
Anything. I'll keep looking at the chat.
So that's my idea of the new film, based on what I read from a dude that seemed like he was in the know for Last Jedi, and he pretty much kind of nailed that.
Yeah.
Little differences aside. Like, I think maybe he had access to an earlier script.
Okay.
But the general story was about right. So we'll see if this has anything to do with broadcasting some message of Luke's across the galaxy to spread his story and his message. You heard it here first. Well, maybe not first. Someone else said it first, but you heard it on this show first.
No, I like it.
But it doesn't sound that interesting, there's all this other peripheral stuff that's going to go on.
We'll see.
And I'm not even going to really venture a guess. I didn't venture any guesses on the last movie. I know that seems to be one of the things people say, it didn't live up to fan expectations. I didn't have
The Last Jedi?
I didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to watch the movie. But we'll get to it.
Big alien boobies. We'll talk about that.
So
pumping the milk. You know.
So let's start with this bad boy right here. Oh, and by the way, I even brought because I always love to pimp these. This is my collection of Star Wars Blu-rays.
Untouched.
The Unmolested Trilogy. I got this. I'm going to give them a little shout out on here if I'm allowed to. From LDSentertainment.com. There are beautiful, beautiful copies of the Unmolested Trilogy out there. And most of the time you can download them absolutely for free.
Well, give a close-up show there.
Oh, yes. I just don't have the ability to burn them to a Blu-ray. But this company, this fella did for me.
He's a sweet guy.
Beautiful. It's got inside artwork.
Yep.
The disc is beautiful. It's even got a special protective coating layer on there.
Yeah, looks studio made, man.
It's got It's got more extras than what the box set of Star Wars had.
Yeah.
It's got, not only does it have, if you watch Red Letter Media, it's got Mr. Plinkett's commentary. We get vintage toy commercials, which I really loved watching.
You got Mr. Plinkett's
commentary is on here.
Oh yes.
Even Chris Stuckman's got some commentaries, interviews, and stuff on some of these. Vintage toy commercials, like I said, even the Family Guy episodes corresponding to each movie are on here.
There. Okay.
Holiday special features, stuff like that. I mean, everything. The deleted scenes from the box set, the interviews.
That is awesome.
It's all here.
I know you.
But now,
every time we bring up Star Wars, that's what Ted says. He's like, "I got the original
so really,
three prints.
This is all
you
need."
I kind of agree with you.
You know, but I'll showcase each one as we get to the movie. But
yeah, we'll start off talking about Star Wars: A New Hope.
What's your first memory, man?
Well, hold on. Let's go ahead and look at the trailer.
The trailer. Oh God. Yes.
Somewhere in space, this may all be happening right now. 20th Century Fox and George Lucas, the man who brought you American Graffiti, now bring you an adventure unlike anything on your planet. Star Wars.
Here they come. Coming in too fast!
The story of a boy, a girl, and a universe. It's a big, sprawling space saga of rebellion and romance. It's a spectacle, light years ahead of its time.
What is this
I am
movie?
C-3PO, human cyborg relations, and this is my counterpart, R2-D2.
Hello.
It's an epic of heroes.
Good luck.
Swing, baby, swing.
And villains and aliens from 1,000 worlds. Star Wars, 1 billion years in the making, and it's coming to your galaxy this summer.
All right, now if you lived in 1976, 75, 76 when you saw that trailer,
You can make that explosion in your
if you were a
own
kid, you're creaming your pants.
stuff right now.
Oh my god!
yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, I see that right now, and if that trailer came out today,
Are you
like
kidding
I'm
me?
seeing that movie day one.
Yeah, no.
That's a movie I'm seeing.
Hey,
Where did you see Star Wars at?
My first memory of Star Wars was, yes, I have a memory of Star Wars when it came out to the theaters.
We were live when it came out.
I remember the whole family going crazy. My uncle, who collected all kinds of comic books, and
Yeah, the comic books even came out before the movie. So.
toys and everything else. That's why you see my love for all of this, because my uncle did it. He grabbed us all us kids, and got on the bus, drove us all the way down to Parmatown Theater.
Okay.
And lines around the corner, and saw it in the theater.
You saw it at
Parmatown Theater.
I saw it. Remember the Brookgate
it was
Theater?
fantastic. Yes.
That's where I saw it. I saw it at Brookgate.
You saw it at Brookgate?
Brookgate.
Yeah.
Yep. My mom took me. Now, I remember it was
Okay.
just me and my mom.
Yeah.
And it must have been crowded because I remember that, there was a girl sitting right next to me, younger girl. I remember when you used to get the toys, there'd be that little catalog, and it would have, you know, all the ships and figures and stuff in there. Well, anyway, they gave you one of those when you got to the theater, you know. So I'm sitting there in the theater. I remember I forget how old I was, and looking through that little book there. So, and I remember someone sitting next to me when Greedo was talking, saying, Spanish. Like he was I just remember that. So I saw it in the theater, and you know the sad thing is, until we got cable several years later, and Star Wars came on cable, never saw it again. You know, and then I got to see it on cable.
Well, yeah,
see, that was the thing when these movies came out.
Yeah.
You know, you don't always get a chance to go see it again.
Took a long time to see it, yeah.
Or you know, my mom or dad wouldn't take me to see it again. So.
But yeah, this was epic. I mean, an epic
changed my life.
Sci-fi, you know, going out to the stars and the different solar systems and seeing aliens for the first time.
It was the most life-changing movie I ever saw. Not necessarily my favorite one anymore, but probably the one that influenced me the most. You know, got my imagination going, got me interested in space. Anything that you learn the name of George Lucas.
Right. Yeah.
You know, oh my God, this guy's God. You know, this is my man.
I'm telling you, man.
And
we were hooked.
So
we had 3 years.
You know, now he's just now he's like L. Ron Hubbard, he's some wackadoo. but
South Park, always, yeah.
But it was. I saw it at the right age. It came out at the right time, and it was incredibly influential on me as a child.
I do need my glasses to read some of the chat, but I do want to read a couple. Anthropomantic Fiend says, my dad said the first time he saw the trailer for the original movie, he thought it looked dumb. Then he saw the movie. So, showing Star Wars clips in the words of the great Chris Rock, says White Tim, George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Fiend, I owned the soundtrack for the first movie on vinyl. That's pretty cool.
I had it on vinyl as well.
Yeah.
But I had it done. It wasn't the official soundtrack. It was, I think my aunt's husband at the time gave it to me.
Yeah.
And it was all done on a Moog electric synthesizer.
Okay.
And I had that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was all done on you know, it's got a Moog synthesizer, you know, it's got a certain kind of cool 70s-ish, a lot of rock bands used them and things, and I had it done on that.
Well, you know, I remember my uncle, he had the vinyl too, the soundtrack. I remember the record player being up on the stove.
Oh, God.
Don't ask me why you put it on the stove. But playing the soundtrack when he was babysitting us kids, and playing the soundtrack, and it was just cool, man. And that's what got me hooked to all of this. But again,
I collected it all.
The story itself, I mean, it was just
such a simple story, but told in a new way.
Yeah,
that hooked us all. Told the classic
characters,
you know, hero's journey.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had to have everything: Burger King glasses, bubblegum cards, comic books.
I got the cards still to this day.
The head on my Darth Vader broke off about 18 times.
Yeah.
I never got a new one. Right. But I swear to God, there was a layer of super glue on the torso about that high. From all the times my dad had to glue it. You know, lost all the capes.
Yeah. And, and then you'd look back in your bin and stuff like that, and there's like, you see all the little guns and little lightsabers and pieces and parts that came with it.
What did this go to? What did this mix and match the weapons?
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
You know, I remember it was a birthday. My sister's on there. If she's still on there, I think it was before you were born.
Yeah.
I remember it was for my birthday, and I think my birthday. I remember the big Death Star playset. It was about this tall, and it had an elevator. It had a trash compactor with the creature. Yep. You actually got to see what the rest of the creature looked like. Mm-hmm. And the trash was just these little bits of foam that you had to tear up and throw in there. Right. You could crank the handle and make it squish. It had a turret gun up there, and you know, when you destroyed the Death Star, it popped off.
Right.
Had a little hook for Luke and Leia to swing over. I had that.
My brother got that too.
Mm-hmm. Flimsiest piece of plastic crap in the plastic and cardboard.
Not around anymore though.
But that was the toy, man. You had that. You were king shit of Turd Mountain.
Ronnie says, I just noticed that with all the horror figures on the bottom of the screen near the center is a pretty in pink pic. It's not a pic. It's a VHS tape. Ronnie.
Oh, right here?
No, this one right here.
Yeah. Well, you know,
got a couple VHS tapes.
We're decorating here a little bit.
Snuck in there, Ronnie. But
one of the greatest movies ever, man.
Yeah, Burrs. But yeah.
So it was such a huge deal for me. Do you have any memories of the holiday special? Do you remember watching it?
Oh,
I only have one waking memory of it.
I have a vague recollection of the holiday special.
I don't remember the cartoon. I don't remember anything with Luke. I remember Chewie's son Lumpy dumping out this box of, I don't know, some kind of electronic stuff and trying to put it back together. And that's the only part of it I remembered. And then I actually, I bought a bootleg VHS tape back before DVD at a comic book convention. And
Jenny Delaney, what's up?
Oh, hey. Watched it and immediately wanted my $20 back.
No!
And so, a special guest, Jefferson Starship. Oh, Jesus, no. Special guest, Art Carney. Oh, no.
You know what?
Oh, it was horrible.
Back then...
Luke looked high as a kite.
High as a kite.
Glassy eyes.
Hippie. Yeah. Hey, back
Leia sings that dumb Earth Day song, whatever it is. Oh, no.
Back in the day, the holiday specials were good, especially around Christmas time.
Not that one.
We had
I don't even know what holiday it was for.
We had the Donnie and Marie show.
Oh, God, I remember Donnie and Marie.
Sonny and Cher. We're going way back.
I remember my aunt, because she's only...
Dolly Parton was a big one. There were always holiday specials around.
My aunt had
Christmas
Donnie and
time.
Marie dolls and a little place set. She's just a handful of years older than me, and I remember being little and her coming over and having that.
Right.
And she used to also drink out of my baby bottles, too, but...
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, hey, you want to move to Empire Strikes Back?
Well, let me see. Did I have any... Oh, well...
Or you got something
Is there
else
something...
for...
Well, what do you love most about the original Star Wars movie? And we're just calling it Star Wars because, according to this, that's all it's called.
It's Star Wars.
So, you got anything you'd done differently about it? Is it perfect? Is it...
So I think Star Wars is a perfect film for what it was.
Mm-hmm. It's got Peter Cushing in it, so I can't argue that much.
George Lucas went back and, of course, added things, this and that.
Oh, we're going to get to that. We ain't got there yet.
But the movie itself, it's for the time, it's perfect. Like you said, simple story. It's the characters that make it. It's your imagination that puts you out there, especially being a kid. You're just thinking of everything from space, aliens, where we could go. Can human beings possibly make it out there? But just the love of the characters and the war between, the good and the bad, the dark side and the rebellion. It's fantastic.
Well, I always have to point out the negatives, so.
Oh.
I've always had two serious problems with Star Wars.
Okay.
Number one, in the beginning, when that escape pod launches. And they go,
I didn't know we were going to go there.
There's an escape pod going. And they say, let it go. There's no life forms aboard it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the secret plans are aboard there. Why don't they just blast the damn thing?
What?
Why didn't they just blast the escape pod? Blow the plans up. They don't need the
Tell
plans.
them, Ted. Tell
They
them.
just need to get them away from the
Tell
rebels.
them.
So they let it crash land on a goddamn sand planet.
Son of a bitch.
And give the rebels time to get it.
Yeah.
Then there's no movie. Blast the stupid escape
Rat
pod.
bastards.
And then my other little problem with this.
Oh, boy. You got another one?
I had two problems with Star Wars.
Okay, what's the other one?
And not enough to at all diminish my love for it.
No, right. But we're picking up.
So the Death Star...
We always tell you our grade.
So they've tracked the Millennium Falcon to the moon, orbiting
moon
the
and
planet
back.
Yavin.
Okay.
And, the rebels are getting ready to mount their attack against the Death Star.
Yeah.
Because in the course of 10 minutes, they've analyzed that secret data.
Right.
And what does the Death Star have to do? The Death Star has to orbit around the planet to get to Yavin and shoot it, right?
Right.
Why didn't it just destroy the goddamn planet that was in its way, which probably would have destroyed the moon? But no, they take a half an hour to orbit around the planet, which gives the rebels time to mount an attack and attack the Death Star and blow it up. Those are the two problems I have with the original Star Wars. Blow the damn planet! They obviously don't have give a toss about doing things like that.
No, I know, I agree.
And if that doesn't destroy the moon, then, blast number 2.
Blast number 2.
Those are my problems.
But Ted.
But those are storytelling devices so that the heroes can win, I guess.
Right.
But
Don't
if
you
when
have
we start
that in
thinking a little bit
every
more,
film?
Not King Kong. There's not one thing that doesn't make sense in King Kong.
Okay.
I can totally accept dinosaurs still being alive and all this shit. Pterodactyls, yep. Makes perfect sense. Big giant ape, yep.
Big giant ape.
Yep, I'm buying it.
Okay, I hear you.
So, 1980 comes along.
Yes, and brings us
And
what?
Holy shit, let's watch it.
Yeah, let's go, man.
Luke Skywalker and Han Solo rescued the princess, destroyed the Death Star, but their story didn't end there. Now, the creators of the biggest smash hit of all time bring you the next episode in the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back. Continuing story of our band of heroes: Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, C-3PO, R2-D2, and Chewbacca.
What?
And introducing Lando Calrissian.
He's probably
An
an
epic of romance.
He's evil too, Ted.
What? Cut out of the original. Cut out of the movie.
Of heroes and villains.
Oh.
They cross trackless
sequel of
voids
all
to
time,
unknown
Batman.
worlds.
Incredible trailer.
A galactic odyssey against oppression.
Oh, another part.
A big, new, sprawling space adventure in the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Notice one incredible thing that it does not show any confrontation between Luke and Vader.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, but let alone, that's enough to get your juices going. And here we go, my precious Blu-ray of Empire Strikes Back featuring original poster art. You know, the back and nice, what's the interior of? Oh, it's of Luke and Vader fighting there on Bespin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Blue and red.
Again, featuring all the
sabers.
extras. This one features the Boba Fett cartoon from the holiday special. Mm-hmm. And also the corresponding Family Guy episode, toy commercials, all the usual stuff. But one cool thing it has the Muppet Show episode that had Mark Hamill and
Really?
Chewbacca.
Got that on there?
And Gonz. Yep, that's on here.
I have the Muppet Collection, so I do remember that episode.
That was
so,
a great episode.
Oh, yeah.
So that's on there. Oh,
and they say best sequel ever. Yeah, and I'd go to say that I like this better than the first one. By a little bit.
It's not the greatest sequel ever because there is a movie out called Godfather Part 2.
Well,
that's really hard to beat.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'll put it in the top 3.
But do you like Empire Strikes Back better than you like Star Wars?
No.
No? Okay.
I love it. I mean, if Star Wars is like a 10, this is like a 9.5. Right. All right, it's really close. It's a fantastic movie, and what's so fantastic,
I like how The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Striking back is what they're best at. Yeah. It's such tone, visually, everything. It is a completely different movie.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the original one.
No.
And the fact that it ends on that dour ending, you don't know what's happening yet, so you knew there was more coming.
Right.
I saw this at Parmatown. I don't know where you saw it.
I did too. I think I saw all 3 at Parmatown.
Yeah, the other 2 I did see at Parmatown Mall.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom taking me. I remember for some reason we had to call my dad to ask him if it was okay. Really? Like to make sure I've been a good boy.
Oh,
and,
got you. Yeah.
I remember they were selling magazines at the ticket stand. And I got, do you remember like the Marvel Super Specials? Usually it was like a comic book adaptation of a movie. And it was the whole movie in like an oversized magazine size.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
They had that for sale. That was the one I picked. And it was, like the comic book version of the whole movie. I had that for years. Don't have it anymore. I remember my mom taking me to go see it and watching it. And the big reveal, with Vader and Luke. And, I don't have a whole lot really to complain about this one. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's particularly dumb in The Empire Strikes Back. I don't know how the Millennium Falcon goes inside that cavern after the asteroid chase. inside a worm and they're able to walk around. I mean, isn't that like out in space? They're inside.
Yeah, it was low. Unless the creature
Does it have its own form of gravity?
own gravity and can emit oxygen
Yeah.
from its tongue.
I mean, they did wear masks, of course,
Corpuscles
so maybe
that's true.
corpuscles.
Whatever.
So there was that. Other than that, I don't know if I had any other,
Well, yeah, they did have masks on,
serious. I don't see. There aren't really any problems
Tell you
with Empire Strikes Back until you get to prequels and sequels that create problems for this movie. Yeah. But if you disregard all those other movies, then you've got the Holy Trilogy, and you're pretty much set. You got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost right here. So
great navigating.
Thank you.
I'm talking about Han.
Isn't that fantastic?
No,
what
you too.
What a scene, though. And just, you finally got to see, like, a really kick-ass lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
I still think the one in Return of the Jedi is the best one overall in all of the duels. But,
which one? In
Return of the Jedi, I think. Because of the stakes and what's involved and the emotions in it.
Okay.
But, Empire Strikes Back, which I had everything Empire Strikes Back you can imagine. So,
just looking at the chat.
Oh, yeah. Anybody got any questions, comments?
Fiend says it also had the Muppets and Star Wars characters singing When You Wish Upon a Star at the end.
Yes.
That's some eerie foreshadowing. And Batman, I just realized, remember back in the day, Billy Dee played Harvey Dent, but didn't quite get to play Two-Face. Well, Billy was Two-Faced in the Empire.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting
fact
there,
yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually a pretty big name in the day, in the 70s. And you got to remember the Boba Fett craze.
Yeah.
I guess we can't talk Empire without talking the Boba Fett craze.
Oh, that's true.
Because before the movie came out,
yes,
there would be these little mail-in offers on the action figures. Get this, exclusive figure. Send in 85 proofs of purchase. 85 proofs of purchase.
I need 85 boxes of cereal.
Little blue and white circles on the back of the Star Wars figures. You threw those in an envelope, and in like 12 to 15 weeks, for a little kid, that's an immense amount of time. And you'd get this little Star Wars figure of this character. Now, the packaging said that the rocket on the back would shoot off. That ended up not happening because of, choking hazards. There are prototypes and versions out there, or even
they're worth a lot of money.
There's a guy, I watched a YouTube video or something, or maybe it was a collector's. The guy had like every version, there was. But you got this character, and no one knew any. We just knew his name was Boba Fett. I remember my dad told me his name was Bobo Feet. But you didn't.
That's such a sweet little story you told.
Thank you.
Oh god.
But it's like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? We knew nothing. And even if you watch that holiday special cartoon, you didn't really know. You kind of went both ways, so you weren't sure. You know what I mean.
Boba Fett he stood around.
Do you know who did the voice for Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back?
Who?
What's his name who handled the bar in Archie Bunker?
Oh, son of a
What's his name? I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Always wore white, the dark hair?
Right.
It's him.
Oh.
Yeah. He's worth a lot to me. Can't remember his name.
Oh my god.
I want to say Charlie, but that's
the
bartender in All in the Family and Archie Bunker's place.
Wow. Okay, well let's hop on over to Return of the Jedi.
3 long years later to find out what happened to Han, and to find out
you will bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me. You can either
hubba hubba,
or be destroyed.
This is your last chance.
Oh,
Free
dude.
Or die.
Is Darth Vader my father?
Your father is.
Your father was seduced by the dark side of the Force. You must face Darth Vader again.
Soon the rebellion will be crushed and young Skywalker will be one of us.
The Emperor's made a critical error and the time for our attack has come.
General Solo, is your strike team assembled?
Right. Chewie, see what this piece of junk can do.
Endangering the mission, I shouldn't have come. Do you understand anything they're saying?
And I do believe they think I am some sort of god. We are now a part of the tribe.
I know there is
Here
good
we go,
in you.
lay in a bikini.
Don't know the power.
What I'm saying.
All fighters accounted for.
All groups assume attack coordinates.
Welcome, young Skywalker. I have been expecting you.
It's a trap! It's a trap! It's a trap!
Your fleet is lost, and your friends on the Endor moon will not survive. There is no escape.
I will not turn, and you'll be forced to kill me.
You will not fight, then you will meet your destiny.
It's like a George Lucas film. He didn't direct this. They don't say anything. Where this is bootleg. Whoa!
Not bad for a little furball.
Oh, interesting. Now, if you were alive at the time, you remembered that this movie was supposed to be called Revenge of the Jedi.
Revenge of the Jedi.
And we all had shit that said had patch and where they said Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like a year before it came out. Revenge of the Jedi. It's gonna be awesome.
Remember my uncle talking about that? He's like, yeah, can't wait for it to come out, and then we get Return of the Jedi.
Return. All right, well, we'll give it a chance. 3 long years to find out if Han was going to live or die.
Yeah.
Was Vader telling the truth when he told Luke he was his father?
It's sad.
You know, what did Yoda mean when he said there is another? These were the mysteries that were left. You know,
were they mysteries?
Yes,
they were.
So we get Return of the Jedi, which again I saw at Parmatown opening day.
Yeah.
With a friend from school. And I remember the line going, horseshoeing around the whole mall. You knew where the theater is. Yeah. Over to the food court and back around by the theater. First day.
And you know what? Theaters across the country tripled by that time, within those 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They tripled. So being shown at many more theaters, and still the lines were just
huge,
unbelievable.
Huge. There were no midnight showings and Thursday night showings and all this bullshit. You got in line like everybody else. So we have Return of the Jedi. Check it out. You know, Princess Leia in a gold bikini right there. Something Disney will not acknowledge anymore. They will not make any product with that. Yes, they've said that's not. Because it's just demeaning to women.
That's so wrong.
You can't. I mean, God, you can go to the beach and see them running around like that. But even on the inside, LDS Entertainment gives you a big picture of Princess Leia in the gold bikini, which I'm very grateful for.
I do remember Spaceballs, of course, Jenny.
Oh, yeah. And you know what it is? To this day, well, I think it's kind of a silly movie. But back then, I hated it.
I love that hokey stuff.
I hated it
because they were making
fun of Star Wars. It made fun of Alien. It made fun of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
and I was like, I take umbrage.
I love this movie.
You know, I really, really did not like it. I mean, I know you are a Mel Brooks guy.
No, I know. Yeah,
Mel, you
love that cheesy stuff.
You know,
man.
Young Frankenstein, all that stuff. And I have tried about half dozen of his movies, and it just, man, it just ain't my kind of humor.
Oh, shut up.
But
jeez.
But I don't.
Mel Brooks is, my God.
I mean, there were some laughs in
Those
Blazing Saddles, but I don't know. I just, you know what? I just don't connect. And
yeah, sorry.
I wish
Charlie
I did.
Chaplin. But,
I wish I did. What'd you say?
So no, I shouldn't have said that because I love it too. I said it should have been Charlie Chaplin. But,
well, you know, there's talking in it. I can't watch comedies with talking.
Highlights of the Return of the Jedi. Princess Leia's got to be up there, number one.
We get to see Jabba. We heard about Jabba in the last 2 movies.
Right.
Now we finally get to see him.
Yes.
And
Jabba
he's this
the Hutt.
amazing slug.
Looks like a giant malformed pizza.
We find out that the Emperor
looks like Belial from Basket Case.
A little.
You know?
We get a new Death Star. It's like, okay, in the course of like 6 months, they've built a new Death Star. I wasn't crazy about that.
They had one standing by, like in Star Trek, the Enterprise.
Yeah.
You know,
I still feel like really you're rehashing the Death Star again. So now we know how the movie's going to end. We got to blow that fucker up.
It's got to be part of the.
I guess.
You know.
Can't get away from Death Stars. Planet-destroying things.
Yeah.
And then Luke shows up at Jabba's palace looking badass. Jedi robe.
Right.
He's choking people out. He's with the Force and shit.
You get the pig guards.
When he's down, it's like, wow, this guy has come a long way since we saw him last.
Yeah.
He's got the black glove on because he got his hand chopped off, remember? We don't want to forget that. Empire Strikes Back.
Sad. But,
And, there's the great part. He gets dropped in the pit with the Rancor. And you remember how he gets out of that?
Yeah.
He picks up a skull and throws it at the controls.
Right.
Why didn't he just use the fucking Force? Why didn't he just bring the door down on the thing? And I mean,
I know.
The Force, dude. Use the Force.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that was, Now I will admit, Return of the Jedi is the worst out of all three. For several reasons. That's one of them.
I mean, in the day, I love the Ewoks, but Ted, you look back on it though now, and
so stupid.
I mean, seeing them. I mean, just like Dow here
warms your heart.
No,
originally they were supposed to be Wookiees.
It's the one thing.
And Ewoks is just Wookiee back, or Ewok, Wookiee.
Right.
And but then Lucas shot his load by making Chewbacca a featured character in the other movies. So now wouldn't you have been able to buy Return of the Jedi more if it was a planet of Wookiees instead of Ewoks? You could believe Wookiees might be able to do this shit.
Oh, that would be yeah.
But instead we get these little teddy bears.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love the part where like the stormtrooper picks one up and just throws it.
Yeah, I can complain about that. I mean,
here we go.
Yeah, I can.
The whole Death Star rehash, wasn't great. The beginning of the movie's fantastic when they save Han and kill Jabba and escape. I think all that's fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
Then we get to Yoda. He goes to visit Yoda. All of a sudden, just a few months later, Yoda's sick as shit. He's hobbling around, and
poor guy. He was ready to be taken. That's all.
And Luke asks him the question: Is Darth Vader my father? Yeah. Tries to evade it, but he tells him, "Your father, he is." And he mentions there is another Skywalker, and then he dies. And what happens when he dies? He disappears. So here's what I'm left with in the original Star Wars trilogy. And this is going to come into play as we talk about the prequels. When Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader fought in Star Wars, and Darth Vader killed Obi-Wan, he disappeared. He was a Jedi.
Okay.
When Yoda dies, he disappeared. He was a Jedi.
Right.
So I take away from that, okay, anytime a Jedi dies, they disappear.
Mm-hmm.
All right? That's going to be thrown out the window in the next movie. And that was,
You were talking about
so I figured, someday, that's just what happens. That's what happens with Jedis. When they die, they disappear, they become one with the Force. And that made sense.
Yeah.
That all made sense. I could accept that because those are the established rules in the movie.
Yeah, it adds to the what? The triglycerides?
Yeah, the triglycerides. I'm triglycerides, yeah. And,
what's the thing? The green thing? What's that's part of the Force? What's that name of that thing?
There's no such thing in the original trilogy.
No, I know. I'm
we
talking
ain't
about
there yet.
When we get to it. Okay.
So
Oh.
Then this is important to talk about the conversation between Obi-Wan, the Force Ghost Obi-Wan, and Luke, where he says, these are key things to remember.
Yeah.
He tells him the story of his father. When I met your father, he was already an incredible pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed by how strong the Force was with him. I took it upon myself to train him. I thought I could do as good a job as Yoda. I was wrong. In Empire Strikes Back, when he appears to Luke on Hoth, he says, you will go to the Dagobah system. Yeah. You will learn from Yoda, the Jedi Master, who instructed me. All right? And then he talks about his sister. He says, if Anakin had any offspring, he'd know they'd be a threat to him. That's where he first heard the name Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that's Darth Vader's real name. And so Luke intuitively figures out that Leia's his sister. And that plays out because in Empire Strikes Back, when Luke's hanging on the bottom of Bespin City, he calls out to Leia. And
such a cool scene.
And she senses him and knows exactly where he is. There's that connection of the Force that the Skywalkers have.
All that green
and then you think back to the original Star Wars and you go, well, why the hell didn't Darth Vader know Leia was his daughter when he says, you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor, take her away. He's too stupid to figure that out. That's a little problem, George. It's a little problem. It gets bigger as we go. But so those are my problems with Return of the Jedi besides the Ewoks. I'm just going to gloss right over that. Remember when Leia gets captured by the Ewoks and taken there, and then Luke and all them, they get caught in that the speeder bikes were cool. I like the speeder bike shit.
No,
remember they get caught in that net?
Yeah.
And he says, Han, can you reach my lightsaber? Hello, Force. Just use the Force. He's so stupid. But then when they get to Ewok Village,
you need those witty lines. I mean, if he can use the Force for everything,
back.
What the heck? What the heck?
Itches. And don't you love when Princess Leia comes out? She's wearing like an Ewok dress. They had one in her size. But these are my friends.
They had an Ewok dress in her size. That's awesome.
I mean, they anticipated this, I guess.
Hey,
stupid.
Whatever.
So stupid.
Oh my god.
But we get to the climactic fight at the end.
Yeah.
Which has so much emotion, and the music with the chanting in it. I love it. And Vader, he redeems himself, sort of. I don't know if throwing the Emperor over the bridge there is enough to redeem him for everything that he did.
Yeah.
But the Jedi returned. Return of the Jedi. Makes sense. And then at the end, the 3 Force ghosts appear to Luke.
Yeah.
His father, Obi-Wan, Yoda, the 3 people closest to him as teachers. And all is right. The Empire is destroyed. The Republic will rise again, and everything's great, I guess.
Should arise.
The universe is safe. And Luke is the last Jedi, and he will pass on what we presume he's going to pass on what he learns. That's what he was told to do. And
it was a beautiful ending.
Yeah, and then there's...
So picturesque.
16 years of darkness after that. We did get 2 Ewok movies. We're not going to show you trailers for those things now. I watched them. I mean, taken as they are, those I can tolerate. But in the scope of a cinematic Star Wars space opera film, Ewoks suck. But the 2 made-for-TV Ewok movies, one of them had Wilford Brimley in it, for Christ's sake. Ain't that bad.
Yeah.
For a TV movie, they're pretty good.
Right.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
We got the Droids and Ewok Saturday morning cartoon. They were not good.
Back in the day.
Even got corresponding action figures of them as well.
Oh, jeez. I mean, there's so many different spin-offs and things from...
The comic book carried on for a while.
I had the lunchbox.
I had a lunchbox for each movie.
Yeah. You don't know more, though.
No. I have a Dark Crystal lunchbox with the thermos, though. I kept that. It's like mint condition.
Awesome.
I have that. But... by the way, the new series starting soon. Can't wait to see it next week. Or actually, this week. At the end of this week, it premieres on Netflix.
Yeah. It didn't yet? I thought it...
30th.
Okay, 30th. Okay.
2 more days. 3 more days.
Oh, that's going to be great.
I know. So, the comic book carried on until about 1985.
Yeah.
107 issues, Marvel Comics. Then Darkness. Not a whole lot of Star Wars.
Across the land.
Not a whole lot
of
Star Wars.
Michael Jackson did a song about that.
Oh, what was it?
Darkness falls across the land.
Oh. I thought...
The Jedi...
I'll be damned.
Sword is close at hand.
The Jedi sword is close
Something
at
like
hand.
that, right?
And we had the late 80s and the early 90s with not a whole lot of Star Wars. I remember when Timothy Zahn put out that trilogy of novels.
That's when you needed to see the psychiatrists and stuff, right?
We sucked those up. Dark Horse did their Dark Empire series,
which was actually pretty good. A lot of books came out and stuff like that. So.
Later on. But the first new Star Wars shit that came out were these books by Timothy Zahn. Heir of the Empire, Last Command, I forgot the one in the middle. And then Dark Horse started putting out that if you collected comics, you knew about it.
Right.
They bought up the license of Star Wars for a pittance, I think, because it was worthless now.
Yeah.
There was no toys. There was no movie to make any toys.
Yeah.
And so they had Dark Empire, which is actually a very mature, preferable sequel to the original trilogy. Having Luke go to the dark side, trying to learn both the light and dark side of the Force.
Yeah.
A clone emperor, which some people suspect may play into the new film coming out. Leia being, trained in the Force. She's got her own goddamn lightsaber.
Yeah.
All that.
Thank God.
Oh, I know, about time.
Yeah.
And what else was I going to say? I think, just... There was even a Star Wars 3D comic that ran for 10 issues. I had the first issue. Because like 3D comics got kind of popular in the like mid 80s.
Yeah.
And I had like Gumby 3D and all these 3D. I mean, and I had the first issue of Star Wars 3D.
Yeah.
I just remember the one picture of, and it was like with the red and blue glasses you had to wear, kill your eyes, and there was like one picture of the Millennium Falcon blasting off that looked awesome. So I remember that. And yeah, just darkness. And then we get in 97, we get the special editions. Boy, did we get excited.
Did we?
Well, because starting about a year or so before the special editions came out, we started getting new Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
Cool Star Wars figures. And you and me, we were nuts.
That's when the collecting started. Yeah.
Oh, we got the collecting bug.
Oh my God.
I remember how they looked at first, like they all were these huge chested Luke and Solo looked like he was working out on a Solo flex.
Right. Yeah.
The lightsabers were as tall as the figures. And we collected them all. And
all of the figures. To this day, they still got figures.
Right, but they're not as cool as the Power, what was it? The Power of the Force line, whatever it was called?
I think so, yeah. Power of the Force.
And I remember you lived in an apartment close to Toys R Us. You saw when the trucks were coming in, and you had
They're getting a delivery today.
Yep. And, I'd always get mad because you'd always get the new ones first.
Yeah.
And then, I'd have to go and chase them down.
Well, and then I would, if I saw a double or something like that, I would hide it in something.
Yep.
Come
back or hide. Because your brother was collecting them too. Yeah. I remember at least one Saturday
my
where we'd all go out.
I mean, there'd be figures everywhere. I would walk back in the store with him, and he's like pulling out figures from, the baby aisle, everywhere. I'm like going, oh, come on, man.
But we were all nuts.
I wanted that one, man.
We were all nuts for those figures.
Yeah.
And they were actually pretty articulate. Characters they hadn't made before they were making. I had a Peter Cushing figure. I have the Princess Leia in the gold bikini figure, and I still have that.
That's the one you'll never give up.
The ships were cool. Yeah. I mean, everything. I collected everything.
I know.
And I was a grown man.
Same here, I know.
I was a grown man, with a job, going to college, had a girlfriend.
All our money
I would even
went to
use
that.
my girlfriend to get Star Wars figures. Because there would always be...
Stop at the Toys R Us in North Olmsted.
We went to... I remember I used her. Because at one time, I think...
That was so fun.
There was always like one figure in each wave that was hard to find.
Right, yeah.
And in the first wave, 3PO was hard to find. She found me one. She was going to school out of town, and she found me one out there and got it for me. But I had to have two of each. One to collect, one to open and display. So we'd go to Toys R Us, nothing there. So I was like, why don't you ask one of the guys if they got any in back? And, because I asked, and they said, no, we don't have any.
No, yeah, I remember.
I was like, tell you what, you go ask another guy.
Yeah.
She asked him. He goes in the back, brings out a box, opens them up, and I'm around the corner. And as soon as I see it open up, I heard him say, which one did you want? And I walk up, I go, I want that one. Well, don't sit there and tell me you don't have it.
Give it to a girl.
Yep.
But not the guy.
That's it. So don't you jive me. And like in the second wave, it took me forever to find Lando.
Yeah, I remember him being very hard to find. Yeah.
And like comic book shops would get them, but they'd mark them up. There was all this artificial inflation.
Yeah.
Action figures became huge. McFarlane started doing his around that time.
Oh my God!
And these great. We have a bunch of like his movie Maniacs ones here.
Yeah.
There's the Rancor from the original, from the Power of the Force line.
Yep.
Much better than the one that came out when we were kids. I like that one way better.
Oh yeah.
So we go to see
more detail.
There was all these big billboards, the original One Last Time. And like the remastered original trilogy came out on videotape again. And I bought it was in a big wide slip box, the letterbox. I had the other ones, and I had the letterbox edition as well. I'm watching them in widescreen for the first time, thinking this is the shit. And then we go see these special editions. Not knowing that you'd never be able to see this again.
Yeah.
Not really taking seriously the original One Last Time. And there's all these changes that got in, and some of them you thought were cool, the ships and everything.
George Lucas put them in the vault and said, nope, no more.
Yeah, I mean, they put Jabba in there, and they make him walk on Jabba's tail, not because that was the story, but because the actor that they used, Han walks around him, and they didn't know how to solve that problem, so they had him step on Jabba. Jabba would have killed him. You don't disrespect a huge gangster like that in front of his underlings.
Right.
But that was how they solved it. And all it does is reiterate everything that Greedo and him just talked about.
Right.
Oh, and then they had to slip Boba Fett in there. And I'd have been fine with it, except when he walks by, he turns and looks at the audience. He's got to mug it for the camera. And it's like, really? He's got to look right at me? I mean, I know he's there. Yeah, the ships looked cool. I mean, we were all excited.
Yeah.
I remember going to see it at midnight. Right. I saw it early in the morning, first show, and then we went again at midnight. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw it like 4 more times after that.
And I think we were very excited, but then slowly we got a little like, what the hell? Because he started messing with it more and more and more and more.
Once you couldn't get the originals anymore.
That's when we were a little pissed.
It was like, okay, wait a minute.
I like
then Empire came out, Return of the Jedi came out with that awful musical number. We all know what we're talking about there. I don't know anybody who likes that.
Yeah.
Not that the original musical number was great. The puppets were stiff. It was kind of silly. But what they turned it into, Jesus, titty fucking Christ. I mean,
what the hell?
Yep. Any questions over there? We haven't checked the chat for a while.
No, they're all just listening and
listening to me yap.
Yeah, listening to us yap.
I thought somebody would be calling me out on something. Well, I haven't gotten to the other movies yet.
Let's see. Gotta go, guys. So Fiend left.
What?
It's all right. How convenient. They had an outfit in her size. Yep.
Yes.
I remember that deleted scene of Jabba in Star Wars where he was human.
Yeah, it was on the From Star Wars to Jedi documentary, which you can watch for free on YouTube and listen to all kinds of contradictions fall out of George Lucas's mouth himself.
Oh, God. Okay, so let's go to what we get next.
Well, we start hearing rumors when these special editions came out
Yeah.
that George Lucas is working on a prequel trilogy.
And I know we got a horror channel, guys, but we just wanted to geek out.
We
to
all
some Star
love the
Wars.
same stuff, right? I mean, if you love all those horror movies, but you love Star Wars too.
So it is what it is.
So, yeah, we hear that there's going to be a new Star Wars movie. For a long time, we don't really know much about it. We start hearing some rumors of who's been cast. Liam Neeson, that gets everybody excited.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor, okay. Train Spotting was a cool movie. That sounds good. Mm-hmm. Natalie Portman, really didn't know who the hell she was. This little kid, okay. They're not really sure who he is. And we wait. We wait and we wait and we wait. And if you were a fan on the website, well, that was a very early website. Or like if you bought like Star Wars Insider, that's how I found out stuff. You'd get little images. The first image I saw from the movie was one of the little tanks that the battle droids had. I saw that. Then you'd see a battle droid. You go, man, that's kind of cool. What's that all about?
Well, here, let's do it. Let's play a little the trailer real quick.
Let's see a trailer.
Yeah.
That was the first thought I had. What the hell kind of title is that for a Star Wars movie? The Phantom Menace.
Oh my God! What do we got here?
What the nuts?
The Phantom Menace trailer is still one of the best trailers ever, even in Star Wars. Says R-rated horror commentary podcast. Cyborg Man, hey, what's up? They show the whole movie in this trailer, pretty much.
Yeah, just out of order.
Dick motherfucker Fury, says Batman. I guess spoilers didn't matter in the 90s.
Well, I gotta agree.
Kind of don't matter today.
It's a damn
some
good
of
trailer.
them, but
it's a damn good trailer.
Yeah, it is.
And I will be on record now that we're starting with the prequels.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace is my favorite out of all of them.
Okay.
That is by no means praise.
Yeah.
It's my favorite out of all three. it's like if you've got 3 hunks of shit, which one, you like the best.
How did you like Jar Jar Binks?
Well, we got a preface, though.
Okay, preface.
When this movie came out in 99, I don't know if all of you were, of movie-going age at that time. We're old as shit. They were selling tickets a week in advance. I'm waiting outside.
They were trying to make it as big as back
then.
There
was no way. There was no way they couldn't. I mean, it was gigantic. 16 years, a new Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
What the hell? Yes, we're all in. George Lucas wrote this. He directed it.
Yep.
A 16-year hiatus from direct. No, more than 16 years, for God's sake. More like a 21 years or whatever from directing.
Right.
I remember waiting in line at Ridge Park Square Theater to get tickets a week in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally sitting there all day waiting for because the tickets didn't go on sale till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. We just sat there and played game after game of Uno. Then getting out of work early, like at 10:30, my friend's holding a spot for me in line. You weren't there. I went with other people. You and I didn't see it together. And getting there in line and going to see it that first show, 12:01, and watching. And just, you know what? The excitement was so palpable. It was
Palpatine to bowl. That's stupid joke.
I was just so excited. And
yeah,
didn't really have any anticipation.
Everybody was.
And when I saw it, I'm just like, that was awesome. I'm seeing it again tomorrow afternoon because I already had my ticket. And I'm like, I'm seeing it tomorrow afternoon.
I know, I remember. Yeah.
And I mean, I went, we got
How many times did you go?
I probably, let's see. I probably saw it about 6 times in the theater.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I remember after it was over, we went to Eaton Park. Remember Eaton Park? We don't have them around here anymore. Got some grub.
Yeah.
Went home and I immediately started reading the novel. I mean, it's like 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and falling asleep. I'm reading the novel. I just saw the damn movie, and I read the novel. And then I saw it the next day, and I still liked it, but times moved on a little bit, and
started dissecting and thinking about things.
Thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking, okay, Jar Jar is pretty annoying. I'm not really digging that character. Not digging the fart jokes and the stepping in poop jokes, and just how much they crammed him down our throats in that movie. Okay, I thought, Obi-Wan discovered Anakin and was going to train him and all that. Come to find, it's Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn, who I think is a great Star Wars character, and hence they killed him. He seemed like really, down with the Force and spiritual, and, he was like the Jedi you wanted, not these other hotheads.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't want Sam Jackson or these guys. We get a little glimpse of Darth Maul. It's like, this is an incredible villain.
That's what
Darth
Maul, I think,
that
grabbed
saber. So let's kill his ass too. Chop him right in half.
Hated that. Although
the best,
yeah,
probably not my favorite, but probably my second favorite lightsaber battle in any Star Wars movie: Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul.
Oh hell yeah!
Beautifully choreographed.
Yeah. Great.
Intense. A lot of emotion.
They have to kill him. That's
you've got a master Jedi, his apprentice, and this mysterious Sith Lord, who they don't know if he's because there's the rule of 2.
Mm-hmm.
We learn that at the end of Phantom Menace. There's always a master and an apprentice, no more, no less. Now, Episode 1 is going to start setting up
same way it is now.
Contradictions. Let's start with that since I just mentioned it.
Yeah.
Sith, a master, an apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
So in the original trilogy, we have Emperor Palpatine and we have Darth Vader. Master, apprentice.
Maul did survive. We'll talk about that.
I knew somebody was going to say that.
Batman, yeah.
Batman. I'm going to talk to you in a second here. Because this is where I start having problems. But yes, I am aware.
Yeah, go on, Ted.
So we've got Emperor Palpatine. We've got Darth Vader, master, apprentice. But now they want to turn Luke Skywalker to the dark side of the Force, have him join them. Well, that breaks the rule of 2. And a Sith can't break the rule. You can't break the rule of 2. I mean, okay, yeah, maybe he can, but that rule is established in episode 1, and then you go back to the original trilogy, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Now they're screwing things up. Yeah, there's the whole midichlorians thing. I don't really have a problem.
Midichlorians, that's what I was talking about.
I mean, I don't have a super problem with it, but
midichlorians.
You got the Force. I mean, even though it was an abstract concept, even as a child, I mean, I got it, man. I got it, the Force.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to give like a physical reason for it. And I mean, like if you're a religious person, I'm not, but if you are, and you're trying to give a physical, explanation for God, I guess, it's not working. It works as an abstract concept. It doesn't work when you're talking about these little bacteria in my body that, okay, whatever.
Started digging, they started to become way too complicated in their theories and everything else. And while doing that, kind of messed up a lot of the storylines, and
right.
And you had goofs and this and that, and people thinking and going, what? Mm-hmm. What's this? What's that?
We meet Anakin as a child. He's pretty precocious, intelligent. It's just too small of a world. It's like, okay, he built C-3PO.
Yeah.
Really? And then you start thinking back to Empire Strikes Back, when Chewie's going shit show in the carbon freezing chamber. He's got 3PO strapped to his back.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett takes aim at, and Vader puts his hand down. Yeah. Is that because he recognizes 3PO now? And doesn't want him to, he's already... See, it fucks things up.
Yeah.
It gives different meaning to things now.
Well, yeah, the majority, I think, forget about it. Or
I don't forget a damn thing.
Yeah, I know.
Then we have Queen Amidala. She's like 12 years old.
What?
How is a 12-year-old girl the leader of a planet? Elected... Well, first of all, why do you elect a queen? And second of all, why are you electing a friggin' 12-year-old? Where in the great blue blazes does that make sense?
Hey, there's religions in this planet now to this day, for real.
Horse pucky, I call it.
If they think, oh my God, you are especially in, I think it's India.
It's not the Dalai Lama we're talking about.
If
we don't elect the llamas,
age is not. Whatever.
She was elected. Did she run a campaign? Was she mudslinging her opponent?
I'm not sure how much they really,
Was she digging dirt on her opponent?
There's not a whole lot they let her
she puts her gum under the table at school.
But anyways,
it's just it's
not like they let her authorize a whole mess of shit. Yeah, blow up that planet.
And she's got all these people around her telling her what to do. So why are you here? Why do you exist?
Because she is queen.
Yeah, whatever. So it turns out to be Qui-Gon who wants to train the boy. And the only reason that Obi-Wan ever takes Anakin under his wing, he doesn't want to. The only reason he does is because Qui-Gon makes a deathbed request of him. He says, train the boy. He's the one. He's the chosen one. So
Cyborg Man says, how does Obi-Wan not remember R2-D2? R2-D2 saved his life.
I guess I've heard that question too. And maybe he doesn't seem to give a crap about droids in any of the movies.
Yeah.
So maybe just like one droid looks like another. Whatever.
Okay.
One droid looks like... Possibly.
Dan Breaker says that's why they call it fiction.
I suppose.
So.
But Star Wars has been elevated to something more than fiction. Right. James Bond movies don't get this kind of... We're analyzing this as one would analyze Moby Dick. But the thing is, the creator, George Lucas, made this. And now shit's not jiving with the shit that he created before.
Right.
And, it's like that L. Ron Hubbard thing before. Here's the new shit, forget the old shit. Now here's the new shit. And, now you got to pay me for this new shit. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly like Scientology, actually.
True! Oh, my God.
It is.
Yikes. I didn't
So there's that. And then Qui-Gon gets killed.
Yeah.
He doesn't disappear. And that's the first thing I thought. I asked my friends that after. How come he didn't disappear?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's, but Jedi disappear.
Who cares? Whatever.
What happened? And we learned the rule of two, and we see kind of, Anakin and Padme give themselves a look. I don't see how there's any attraction there right now.
Yeah.
And the movie's over, and there's not really much else to say about it. You see the seeds of what's coming, and then we get 3 years of just anticipation until we get episode 2.
Yep, and here we go.
Let's see this dog turd. It can only be better, right?
I will not let this republic be split in two. My negotiations will not fail.
If they do, there aren't enough Jedi to protect the Republic. We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
You know I don't like it when you do that.
Sorry, Master. I forgot you don't like flying.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you've lost it. If you'll excuse me.
This is Anakin.
I hate it when he does that.
Anakin, don't do anything without first consulting either myself or the Council.
You don't need guidance, Anakin. I see you becoming the greatest of all Jedi.
The boy has exceptional skills.
His abilities have made him arrogant.
Excuse me. I'm in charge of security here, milady.
They are using a bounty hunter named Jango Fett to create a clone army.
Wait.
We must stop them before they're ready.
Your clones are very impressive.
They'll do their job well.
Slave one.
Blast, that's why I hate flying.
This is a crisis. The Senate must vote the Chancellor emergency powers.
As my first act, I will create a grand army of the Republic to counter the increasing threats of the Separatists.
Hasn't been a full-scale war since the formation of the Republic.
You must join me.
Christopher Lee?
And together we'll destroy the Sith.
Okay, this can't be worse than the other
Side clouds everything. In grave danger.
This is when CGI started.
R2 can fly. Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
All right, so we hear that title. What do we think? Original Star Wars mentioned the Clone Wars.
Yes.
Obi-Wan tells Luke that, your father, he and I fought in the Clone Wars.
Right.
And that always piqued our interest. Like, what were the Clone Wars? What was that all about?
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder. So we get this movie. It takes place 10 years later. Anakin's still a what do they call them in this movie? A Padawan.
Yeah.
Padawan learner with the little ponytail.
Qui-Gon not disappearing is the equivalent of Dracula having a reflection and Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's a guffaw in the movie, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, but see, this is where I'm going to illustrate why these movies are inferior.
And notice, Ted knows a hell of a lot more than me. I'm letting him go.
I've been wanting this.
He's been wanting to
So
spew.
if you guys are upset that it's not horror, just come after me.
No, go ahead.
Leave Dino alone.
No,
because you'll notice he's not doing a lot of talking. He's watching the chat. He's doing the editing over here while I'm doing it.
I'm letting Ted talk, man.
Even
Go
though
ahead.
you know Star Wars.
Right.
I, at one time, lived, breathed, eat, slept Star Wars.
And I know you wanted to get a lot out.
And I don't want to dislike any Star Wars movie. I want to love every Star Wars movie. But I have discerning taste, and I have a certain expectation of my Star Wars movies as far as entertaining me.
Yes, you do.
So, Episode 2, Electric Boogaloo, Attack of the Clones. They're hired. There's an assassination attempt on, now it's Senator Padme, Senator Amidala.
Yeah.
She's not a queen anymore. Now she's been elected a senator to the
moving around
to the Republic.
Right.
The Senate.
Yes.
Oh, I've also got to mention in Episode 1, those in the Senate chamber, all those little things that had the different races from.
Right.
There's one that's got little ETs in them.
That was awesome. Yeah.
If you got to look, there's
ETs
only little ETs in it from Steven Spielberg.
I thought that was a cool scene.
Yeah, they should have made action figures of them. That's one thing my dad used to always say, like, goddamn characters in the movie for 2 seconds, they make a figure of.
Yeah. Some of them not. They were just mentioned in the story.
True that. Some of you didn't know exactly what they really look like till you got that figure. You're like, that's what he looked like. Couldn't see him so well.
Oh, my Lord.
There's an assassination attempt on her life, so the Jedi are called in to protect her.
Right.
And we get Obi-Wan, who's looking real. I dig the longer hair, the The beard, the robe.
Gruff
I
look.
like how he's carrying himself in this film.
Yeah.
And I like Ewan McGregor. He's one of the best things about those.
He did an excellent job.
I mean, I might even go so far as to say he is the best thing about all three of those films. He is believable as a character.
Yeah.
You know, he does not deliver stilted, boring dialogue. You know, I feel him 100% as a character. And I think everyone's going to agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Liam Neeson was great.
Yeah.
But now that he's gone, Ewan McGregor shines in these films.
Totally agree.
And he is the best thing about the prequel trilogy. So they're protecting the princess. Then there's another assassination attempt on her, and they're chasing. That's the part where they're chasing them through the crowded. I was going to say streets, but the skyline of Coruscant.
Yeah, you mean the Blade Runner-ish?
The Blade
type,
Runner-ish looking.
You know,
yeah.
Let's make this kind of film noir sci-fi.
Yeah, that's the film noir part of Star Wars.
Whatever.
And we see ultimately that it's a guy that looks sort of like Boba Fett. You think maybe that's Boba Fett. So they got to track down this bounty hunter. They got to look at him now. They got to track him down.
Yeah.
And they got information from this other bounty hunter, one that tried to do the assassination. And they get they kind of split up. Anakin's gonna watch. He's gonna babysit the senator. Obi-Wan's gonna go search for this bounty hunter. And when he does find this bounty hunter, it's on a water world. I forgot these weird long-necked aliens. He finds out that a
Waterworld is Kevin Costner wasn't in this, was he?
I wish.
Oh Lord!
That a previous Jedi named Sifo Dyas has ordered a clone army. Yoda doesn't know about this. Mace Windu doesn't know about this. There's this giant clone army. Where do these clones come from? They come from this dude named Jango Fett. All right, and he's got an Australian or New Zealand accent. So therefore, all the clones have that accent, and we have to presume that in the original trilogy, the stormtroopers are still those clones, because why would they hire people and not, use the clones, because that's cheaper.
Yeah.
They don't have Australian accents, except when they in not the special editions,
right,
but in later DVD and Blu-ray editions where George would make further changes to further fuck up the trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think some of them he did just to piss people off. Like, remember in Star Wars when, after the sand people attack Luke and R2's kind of hiding in that alcove?
Yeah.
Well, when he's hiding in that alcove, there's a big hunk of rock in front of him. How did he get in there? And then when he comes out, the rock is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Just to piss people off. I think he gets off on it. I honestly think he gets his
Could be.
There's no other reason.
The two South Park guys believe that.
There's no other logical reason except he just wants to piss you off. He doesn't piss me off because I have these. Haha. And everybody's probably going to LDS Entertainment.
The water planet is Kamino.
Thank you, Kamino. The same thing that Japanese people wear, isn't it? A kimono?
Yeah, kind of. Kimono. During the scene where Anakin chases Zam, if you look closely.
Oh, God, this person knows that one's name.
Sebulba from Phantom Menace makes a cameo.
Wow.
There you go.
Poodoo. I say poodoo to that. Poodoo. Cool eyes, though. I don't think I noticed that. But admittedly, I haven't watched... I've seen them plenty of times, but I not like the originals.
Yeah.
So we've learned that Jango Fett is the clone for all these clone troopers. And why do we have these clone troopers? Well, we're going to find out later. In the meantime, in the 2 days that Anakin's watching Padme, they just fall madly in love with some of the worst... There was better dialogue in The Maltese Falcon last week.
Hey, of course there was.
And that style of acting back then was a little bit more stagey and stilted.
Yeah.
And over, what I want to say, just over the top.
It was pretty bad, the dialogue between them and the...
I can't breathe.
The connection.
For the love of Christ.
Yeah.
She is wearing that kind of sexy leather outfit. I mean, why are you wearing that in front of him?
That's true.
I mean, I can tell you why she's wearing that in front of him, but why are you wearing? You obviously know,
right?
And then you're going to play it off.
I hear you.
Now, evidently, Jedi can't be in love. They can't marry. They can't have attachment because it would cloud their judgment. Okay, I get that.
Why?
I get that.
Like a boxer.
Whatever. You know, they got to save their vitality.
Yeah.
So, okay.
You won't win the fight if you tinkle
I guess
a little
I
bit
get
with
that.
the... Yeah.
You know, I mean, I guess it's like, you know, in Game of Thrones, too. You know, the Watchman on the wall and all that. You know, you can't have attachment. But, okay, so them's the rules.
Well, go ahead.
But, you know, then we get a big old Clone Wars start, and we find out Christopher Lee's, you know, he's the new Sith apprentice, Darth Tyrannus. Christopher Lee is fantastic. I mean, he doesn't phone it in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's graceful with that lightsaber. But then we see him and Yoda fight lightsabers. And gee whiz. I mean,
that was awful.
Yoda's doing backward flips every which way. Like, really?
That was so cartoonish. Yeah.
So dumb.
I did not like that. That was.
And I remember people cheered in the theater when he opened up the jacket and just used the Force to grab that, like, and the lightsaber's like, you know, as big as a pinwheel. And, you know, there's little shits like,
got his little billy club.
Yeah, he's got his little, you know, and
hey,
he goes to town on his ass.
Yeah.
And like, okay, whatever.
Hey, Flippy Yoda.
And, you know, the Clone Wars starts. We got the... Oh, can I ask you a question?
That leather outfit and room looks like she is about to film an adult movie.
Damn right. Damn right. And I think it would have been more entertaining if they had.
Okay, what were you going to ask me?
Hey, have you guys ever seen the porn versions of Star Wars?
Oh, jeez.
They're actually very good quality. There's one of the original Star Wars.
Better than the Phantom Menace?
Yes. I mean, there's a C-3PO CGI.
Yeah.
He's got, like, the gay accent when he talks like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah.
I think I've seen part
It's
of that.
actually very high quality. Yeah. I can't believe it.
Anyway, let's put some money into this. Okay,
they
go ahead.
Put some money into it.
Is there a trailer for this?
Oh. Hey, pop that one up there. I think it's called like a Triple X parody or something like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
But
they got a Pirates of the Caribbean one. I mean,
they do it for all these movies.
Yeah,
They do them for all of them.
Yeah.
Where was I? Put me off. What was I talking about?
I didn't put you off.
Oh, Christopher Lee and Yoda doing their thing, and I know what I'm talking. You know how they have those battle droids, the Trade Federation.
Yeah.
And you know they'll walk around. Okay, Corporal. Which way? You know, why do droids have rank? Aren't they all controlled by some shit, and they're all doing the same goddamn thing? Yeah. Why would one droid have a hierarchy to another? And that takes me back to Return of the Jedi.
It's funny how you see later we go into these movies, Ted's hatred becomes more and more and more.
But then in Return of the Jedi, I think back, and they're torturing a droid. Remember, like when they're going to consign C-3PO to be a translator and R2 on the sail barge, and they're torturing that droid. Why? They don't have feelings. I mean, and it's screaming in pain. You know, they got the other one pulling its arm. They don't have pain. They don't have pain receptors.
Yeah.
They don't.
They never mentioned it. Maybe they do.
No, they're droids. They're robots. They don't.
I know.
So you know, but like I said, Return of the Jedi is the worst.
Even R2D2 kind of, you know.
Well, then in
hurts
Attack of the Clones, we see R2, you know, he's got jets on his legs flying around. I don't like when they have them doing shit that they couldn't do in the original movies.
Yeah.
That probably would have come in handy a time or two. Him being able to fly.
Right.
You know, like on Dagobah when he fell into the water, he could have just flew out.
True.
Instead of letting that big fish swallow him and spit him out, make a big damn mess.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No?
I don't like that at all.
I hear you.
Oh, and we also meet... we find out that his mother was freed. She was a slave, remember?
Right.
And she married some moisture farmer named Lars. Owen Lars. Or
I ain't even going
no,
to
not
go
Owen
there.
Lars. Something on Lars. Just named Lars.
Moisture farmer.
And he has a son named Owen.
Yeah.
And he's got a young wife named Beru. And we know from the original Star Wars that's going to be Luke's aunt and uncle, his guardian.
Yeah.
Okay. And she had been kidnapped by Tusken Raiders. They couldn't find her. Anakin goes after her, only to find her at the last second before she takes her last breath.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and kills all the Sand People, and he makes a big deal out of that. Not just the men, but the women and the children. I should be better than this. You know, and he starts throwing shit.
He should be.
And, you know, this is like his, you know, he's turning to the dark side. This is the dark streak I don't see why that's such a big deal. I mean, I would have force choked all of them too, probably, if they killed my mom.
Yeah.
And we get a big old clone war. The clones come at the last second, because all the Jedi are in that arena. It's like a big trap, and there you go.
That was the problem with the clones.
The Clone War.
It
was all one big mess.
They would come at the last second.
I guess. It was all just one big mess, man. Robots, clone troopers. I mean, it was chaotic. You couldn't understand who was fighting who. And the movie ends with Anakin and Padme secretly marrying.
Ooh.
So, There we go. Breaking the rules.
Yeah. And then we are on to Revenge of the Sith.
Finally, we get a Star Wars movie with the word revenge in the title.
And here we go.
Can't possibly be any worse.
No, I mean, come on,
Not liking it so
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Anakin's got the long hair.
Not from a Jedi.
The Council wants you to report on all the Chancellor's dealings.
Oh man, Obi
That's
comes
treason.
here.
We are at war, Anakin.
Very dangerous putting them together. I don't think the boy can handle it. I don't trust him.
I need your help, son. I'm appointing you to be my personal representative on the Jedi Council.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What? Obi-Wan and the Council don't trust me.
Learn to know the dark side of the Force, and you will achieve a power greater than any Jedi.
You're under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi? Every single Jedi is now an enemy of the Republic.
Chewie!
Do what must be done. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
Who could have done this? Twisted by the dark side, young Skywalker has become. I feel so helpless.
You were the chosen one!
Well, I'll tell you. Oh, and they show Vader at the end. Well, that trailer sure looks intriguing. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no, this one was this one was good. I mean,
It's good, huh?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's the word you use for it. Interesting.
It was pretty to watch. How about that?
It was all right. It was all right, really.
It was pretty to watch.
So it starts off with we're seeing the end of the Clone Wars. Excuse me.
Oh, sure.
And this is the final battle of the Clone Wars.
The final.
Yes. Chancellor Palpatine has been kidnapped by this half organic, half robot cyborg thing called General Grievous.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do see him, it's funny that he coughs all the time.
Right.
And if you didn't watch the stupid ass little Clone Wars cartoon that came before this, you didn't understand why he coughed. This is the beginning of stuff I have a real serious problem with.
Yeah.
Not that General Grievous coughing is a huge issue, but if you had watched that cartoon, you would understand why he's coughing. Because he has an encounter with Anakin. And I think Anakin does like a little force thing to his chest that causes him to do that cough. They end up saving the Chancellor. Anakin kills Christopher Lee's character, Darth Tyrannus. Matter of fact, he takes 2 lightsabers and cuts his head right off. And, the whole time, Palpatine's guiding him. He's telling him, go ahead, kill him. He's...
Real quick, R-rated horror commentary podcast. He says, "Sorry, can you ask Ted Dino, how did Obi-Wan get so old so fast?"
Oh, you mean like between episode 3 and...
Yeah.
And, well, I suppose living in the desert ain't good for your skin. I mean, we got to presume...
Is that your answer?
20 years pass. He looks like he's in his 30s. That puts him maybe in his 50s, early 50s. Alec Guinness was 61 when he played the character. Yeah, I can't account for all those years. I mean, I guess we're just going to say desert living.
Yeah.
You know, Tatooine's hell on the skin. It's bad enough having one son. Now you got 2. Maybe.
Again, yeah. Just...
It is the only explanation I can give.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Excellent question. Palpatine takes a
Hey, John Kyle, what's going on?
Oh, right! Palpatine starts, we know he's taking a greater interest in Anakin, which he said from the very beginning in The Phantom Menace, we were going to watch your career with great interest.
Yeah.
And, did I forget to mention in Phantom Menace, they mentioned that Anakin was a virgin birth?
Oh,
I totally glossed
right.
over that.
Yeah.
Totally lame.
Yeah.
I figured Jerry Falwell would have had a field day with that when that story came
Jerry
out.
Falwell. Oh my god.
But it's in Revenge of the Sith that it comes back because at a particular concert, Palpatine's telling Anakin about these old Sith lords. I can't remember, Darth Plagueis and whatever, could create life using the midichlorians to create life. Basically in a nutshell, if you read in between the lines, saying that he created Anakin using the midichlorians. I don't know how. I mean, can he do it from like billions of light years away in the galaxy? I don't know. But
you would think so. I mean,
if you read in between the
system,
lines and you disregard comic books, novels, anything like that, you can understand that he did that for the purpose of creating Anakin. He knows Anakin's having nightmares about Padme dying, and what makes it worse is Padme is pregnant. They're keeping all this secret, and for all I know, Palpatine is the one who put those nightmares there.
Christopher Lee was called Count Dooku because he played Count Dracula, so it makes sense.
Isn't Dooku the dumbest name? I mean, did Lucas just let his kids name the characters?
No.
Dooku. So stupid. I mean, you had cool names like Bosk and Lobot, Lando Calrissian. I mean, when you have bitchin' names like that, we're just going to go with Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Whatever. And he was a Jedi at one point. Why didn't he have like a cool Jedi name? Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Mace fucking Windu. Mace motherfucking Windu. So, Palpatine starts tempting Anakin over, it's like, and he could also save those he loved from dying.
Right.
And he's playing right into because he knows he's having these nightmares. He knows he's got this attachment to Padme. Mm-hmm. It's all just a ploy. I mean, if I was Anakin, I'd be like, how do you know so much about this Sith and stuff like that? How do you? Because they're suspecting the whole time, all 3 of these movies, that there's a Sith influence. They only killed Darth Maul. They don't know who the Master is. They know shit's going on, but the Sith clouds. The dark side clouds their vision. They're losing their ability to use the Force.
Right. And
it's actually, the Jedi's dogmatic view of the Force, everything that's kind of their downfall in the end. Mm-hmm. Their adherence and their way of thinking is their own undoing.
Right.
So I get that. That's interesting in theory, not in execution. And he'll finally get Anakin by using that little thing, just to save your old lady from dying. Mm-hmm. That will be how I'll turn you to the dark side. He christens him Darth Vader, and this is before he gets he's Darth Vader before he gets all the respirator shit on.
Right.
And it's going to be his job to go and kill all the younglings and kill everybody at the Jedi Temple and kill everybody over on this lava planet. Kill everybody. Take some.
Kill them all.
The clone troopers are all embedded with a sleeper. They're all sleepers.
Right.
And when they activate, code 69, whatever it is, they all start turning on the Jedi and attacking them. And basically wiping out all of the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception, Yoda gets away with the help of Chewbacca, which I like, and Obi-Wan escapes because he stows away with Padme on her way to where Anakin is. He's already turned to the dark side, and he wants her to come to him. He's going to try to tell her, hey, together we can rule the fucking universe. We can overthrow the Chancellor, you know, and blah, blah, blah. All this crazy. I mean, he, like, flips on a dime, and he's all different now. I just don't think that the things... I don't think what ultimately turns him was enough. Like, really just that? That alone got you to kill these kids and wipe all these people out? I don't know. Seems stupid to me. And, he does a little... He gets mad at Padme, remember? Because he thinks she brought Obi-Wan. He does a little force choke on her ass.
Right, yeah.
And she falls down. I mean, she's pregnant. What a douchebag. And so there you go. I mean, you're losing, any kind of like for the character.
Yeah.
And
the hatred is...
So Obi-Wan's going to go sick on his ass.
Yeah.
And the big epic lightsaber duel that evidently we've all waited 3 movies for begins, and it lasts about 1 billion hours.
It was like a long battle.
And half of it is just them twirling lightsabers around, not even connecting.
Nunchucks. Bruce Lee nunchucks.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Just stab. Hit him with the pointy end. And we all kind of knew, I mean, hell, even if you read the back of the action figure of Obi-Wan Kenobi for the Power of the Force on it, said what happens.
Right.
We knew it before it happens.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan defeats Anakin badly, chops his legs off.
Right.
Anakin ends up getting burned up from lava, going, I hate you!
Burned up from the neck
But,
up.
like Obi-Wan tells him, like, you were supposed to be the chosen one, you were my brother, I loved you. How can you do this? I mean, Anakin's whole perspective skews too fast, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jedi aren't all these bloody do-gooders.
Right.
That, they got their own issues.
Mm-hmm.
But, so there you go.
No.
Obi-Wan escapes. He and Yoda alone escape. And that's because that connects to the original trilogy.
Right.
The only Jedi left in the whole universe is Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But wait, there's more. Chancellor, now Emperor, because Jar Jar Binks, put forth the vote to give him supreme power.
Right.
To build a grand... that was at the end of Attack of the Clones, where Jar Jar gives him the power to be the supreme emperor. In Revenge of the Sith, he's already the emperor. Now that the Clone War is over, they want him to give up those emergency powers. Remember when Mace Windu shows up with a couple of Jedi behind him, and they're gonna force him to give up those powers. And that's when he turns his hand. Palpatine whips out that lightsaber. And, even though he's old, they're fighting.
Right.
He uses some of that Force lightning, which ends up backing up on him. And that's how he gets that ugly old face that he's got. That, waffle face, whatever.
Yeah.
And blows Mace Windu out the damn window.
Yeah.
And Anakin don't help. Anakin
Blue
don't
drowned
help.
look, it's called.
I guess.
Yeah.
So, Obi-Wan goes to Padme, who's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives birth on the ship to Luke and Leia. And then, for some reason, just loses the will to live.
Oh, boy.
And dies.
Yikes.
But wait.
Oh. What?
Because... Wait a minute. In Return of the Jedi, Luke says to Leia, tell me about your mother. And she has memories of her mother. Very faint, but she has memories of her mother.
Yep. Well,
she can't possibly have those memories if what happened in Revenge of the Sith happened in Revenge of the Sith.
Exactly.
So,
No.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
That is a problem. That's the problem.
While on the, they have her funeral, blah, blah, blah. She's whatever. She's buried, burned, whatever they did with her carcass. And Obi-Wan and Yoda must go into exile.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a scene that's cut out But evidently Qui-Gon was to appear to Yoda and explain to him, there's a life beyond death.
Right.
You can commune with the Force, you can become part of the Force and still, retain your essence. But Yoda does tell Obi-Wan about this. We don't get to see Qui-Gon, but he tells him, while you're in exile, you'll have some training and learn how to do this.
Right.
Okay, so that kind of explains why some Jedi disappear and some don't. Okay, we get that. But we didn't, we got it. But then you wonder, well, how the hell is Darth Vader a Jedi again at the end of Return of the Jedi, and that's why he got to appear as a Force ghost? He certainly didn't learn how to do it. Yoda makes it clear to Obi-Wan, you have to learn how to do it. You've got training to do. It's not something you just do. Well, I didn't see Darth Vader learning how to become a Force ghost in Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back. So how does he become a Force ghost? It screws everything up.
A Force ghost or a forest ghost?
Force ghost.
Oh, okay.
How does he do that?
Forest ghost.
Because, okay,
I love
it's
that.
not just... When you just took the original trilogy as it stood, if you were a Jedi, you became a Force ghost. So when Anakin shows up at the end of Return of the Jedi, okay, it makes sense. He became a Jedi again. He was good. Yeah, I can accept that. He didn't disappear when he died, but he could come back as Force. I could still buy that. But now...
I should let you continue on and I go make a sandwich.
Yeah. But now, evidently, you have to train and learn how to become a Force ghost.
Yeah.
And so how Anakin do that? I don't understand by Return.
They shouldn't have forced him to be a ghost.
They didn't show it. So I don't... Now that I know there has to be training, I didn't see Darth Vader train. So I don't know how he did it. And it's a Jedi thing. It's not a dark side thing.
No, I know.
So go figure that one out. That ruins the movie. And so there's Bail Organa. He says, they have to hide the twins. So it's like, we'll take the girl. Me and my wife, we've always wanted a daughter. We'll take the girl. And she becomes Leia Organa. Which, okay, Darth Vader may not know just based on that name. Okay, that's my daughter. He should have known when he saw her based on everything else in these movies. When he,
right.
And Obi-Wan takes the boy, Luke, to Tatooine. He kind of gets the raw end of the deal, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's given to his... stepbrother, technically, I guess, Owen Lars, and his wife Beru, and they'll take the boy and raise it. And Obi-Wan, I'll be around. He's going to hang by, he's going to watch him.
Yeah.
All right. And instead of being raised as Luke Lars, he's raised as Luke Skywalker. All right. Probably a last name that Darth Vader might be looking for, might notice. And so, and there's Imperial troopers all over Tatooine in Star Wars. They don't have any orders to, like, hey, if you hear a name Skywalker, just, maybe tail him. Maybe ask him a few questions. No, stupid. He should have been Luke Lars. But, whatever. There's that. And, Revenge of the Sith just, then he gets, because Palpatine saved his carcass, he gets turned into Darth Vader. And first thing he asks is what happened to Padme. And Palpatine tells him, oh, Lord Vader, she died. You're like, no, she was alive. I felt it. No. All right.
You had a lot of issues with this movie. More than the others, I think.
It's because it creates problems with the original trilogy that you can't reconcile.
Yeah.
And it doesn't ruin the trilogy for me. But if you want to enjoy the whole saga, then there's these problems. And as a child, you may not notice them, but as a discerning film watcher with taste, you're going to say, oh, come on. Okay, if you're the master, you're George Lucas, you're the creator of this universe. You, above all people, should not be having these gaps in logic and these problems with storytelling. And my opinion is just that he probably just didn't have anybody to tell him, hey, before we shoot. Hey, look! You would think he would know his own.
So yeah, problems. Let's move on to the next.
What was next?
Probably the biggest movie in the franchise.
What?
The Force Awakens.
What do you mean the biggest movie in the franchise?
Well, money-wise. And,
most of us, after Revenge of the Sith, breathed a sigh of relief. Like, okay.
I do believe it is the highest grossing. Yes.
Well, if you look at
of all the
I'll
Star
tell you
Wars
what,
films,
if you look at probably the top grossing films of all time, most of them probably aren't that good.
Well, here, let's look at the trailer real quick, and then we'll talk on it.
All right.
Because we'll let you spiel your stuff.
I'm being fair, I think.
All right.
Who are you?
I'm no one.
Force Awakens. Boring.
Who said that?
I was raised to do one thing.
You my man.
I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true.
I'm in.
All of it. The dark side. A Jedi. They're real.
The Force. It's calling to you. Just let it in.
You saw, see, that black guy had the lightsaber. See, finally the black man's gonna run the universe. Got him a lightsaber.
Yeah.
About time.
The Force
So,
Awakens.
I saw that trailer.
People saying boring, but
Well,
you know.
First, one general conclusion about the sequel trilogy. I mean, the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Especially episode 2 and 3. Not as much for 1 because there was a great deal of practical effects in part 1. And there was practical effects in the others as well. But way too much CGI. And it doesn't look good today. You watch those films and it doesn't look good. Whereas you can watch Empire Strikes Back and it looks tits and ass better than that cartoony crap. In my opinion. And I think in most people's opinion. So, after the...
IMO.
After the prequel trilogy, we all breathed a sigh of relief. It's over. Okay? It can die. Let it die, let it die, let it shrivel up and die. We don't need any more Star Wars. Well, then there's all these Clone Wars cartoons. And I watched it for a couple seasons, and I got bored.
Mm-hmm.
You'd hear little rumblings, that, well, what the hell? Like, Darth Maul survived. He didn't get cut in half after all. He's in a cartoon. And he survives in the cartoon. Like, oh, okay. Well, it's a cartoon. What do I care? It's a cartoon. More on that to come. And there's been a couple other cartoons, and I think they've been canceled, obviously, because they're great. But, I mean, Clone Wars ran for a good 5 seasons or so, whatever. I went to go see the original movie in the theater. It was dumb. It was a kid's movie, but, I mean, it was Star Wars for kids. That's fine. Whatever. Little was I to know that these cartoon shows were going to start informing the movies, which we'll get to.
Yeah, no.
So we get a sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
We find out that George Lucas has sold Lucasfilm to the devil, Disney, or as George Lucas said himself, white slavers. Those were his words.
But he sold it.
Over $4 billion, some of that in stock, some of it in cash.
Yeah.
Evidently, he says he donated a lot of it. I'm sure he has accountants that make sure that all comes back to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so Disney needs to make good on that investment.
Mm.
And you know they are going to churn out Star Wars movie after Star Wars movie after Star Wars movie. But part of the deal was George Lucas's outline to a sequel trilogy. And from what I understand, what the news was at the time is that before the sale was finalized, was it Bob Iger, whoever was in charge of Disney, wanted to see that outline, and George did not want to show it to him. He's like, just take my word for it. It's good. Just, you don't need to see it. He just didn't want it to get out at all. He holds it close to the chest. But that outline was part of the deal. And not too long after that, most of that outline got thrown out. There's bits of it in the movies, but just really generalities. So Force Awakens comes out. And I remember I was a little excited because you would hear things. You'd see pictures of the round table reading, where they're reading the script. And I heard about how the movie was supposed to start with Luke's severed hand from Empire Strikes Back still holding the lightsaber.
Right.
And it falls through orbit of the Jakku, whatever that desert planet is. Yeah. The hand burns up, but the lightsaber gets found. And it was this whole big quest to, get this lightsaber. When it's found out that it's Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, to get it back to him. And I was like, that was kind of interesting, the hand... as long as the hand didn't survive re-entry. Right. I got a problem with it.
As long as it burns up.
Yeah. But, that was kind of neat. I mean, imagine a Star Wars movie starting with a hand just floating in space. Yeah. All right, that's gangster. I like that. That's not how the movie started.
No.
And you start learning, you knew Han was going to be back, Leia was going to be back, Luke was going to be back. I was like, okay, I can be down for this. The original characters are back. They'll bring it like they always brought it. So I go see this movie with my daughter, and I didn't hate it. I mean, there were a lot of, emotionally, I connected with a lot of things, and I always overthink things. So the movie's over. Oh, and you get to see Luke Skywalker for 0.7 seconds at the end. You don't even have a line. And Han gets killed by his own son. And...
That's crazy.
He's kind of the joke of the whole movie. They turned him into a laughing stock.
Ridiculous.
I mean, okay, their son goes bad, and so he and Leia just aren't together anymore. I mean, he goes back to being a smuggler, and he loses the Millennium Falcon. How the hell does that happen? I mean, he wasn't playing Sabacc and lost it in a game. He never used Chewie's bowcaster before. Like, when he used it, I gotta get me one of these. Like, really? But my serious issue with The Force Awakens and the sequel trilogy is, okay, after the Empire is destroyed and Return of the Jedi, the Republic will rise. And that's what happens. You have the Senate, the Republic, you have peace. Mm-hmm. And then you have the First Order. Now, the roles are kind of reversed now. Before... in the original trilogy...
it turned Han into a loser.
Well, in the original trilogy, the Empire, the bad guys, they were the government. They ruled. And the rebellion was basically a terrorist organization. Hit-and-run terror raids trying to overthrow the Empire. And you got that. But now you got this First Order. And they're bloody... I mean, they've got stormtroopers. They've got humongous ships. They're building a star killer base, a planet that can destroy other planets. Where are they getting the money for this? I mean, they're not the government anymore. Who's paying for all this?
Where's any terrorist organization get their money?
You've got, and then why do you have a resistance? You have the Republic. Don't they have an army? Don't they got fleets of ships? I mean, didn't they learn their lesson? Hey, what if this shit happens again? Maybe we should be a little bit more better prepared this time to, if the Empire tries to come back, we can destroy them if we have a fleet or some pointed sticks or, some soldiers or something like that, a standing army. No, they have none of that. And then you have this First Order that completely resembles the Empire, but the Empire is destroyed. So where are these people coming from? How is it so organized? How is it funded? Because it's not the government anymore. The government should be the resistance. Mm-hmm. Why is there a resistance? There's no need for a resistance. It should just be all the free peoples of the galaxy fighting against the remnants of the Empire trying to come back. But they make it seem like the Resistance is just this little band of freedom fighters.
Mm-hmm.
The Republic was destroyed, with that Star Killer base. But I just don't understand how they can function. How are they as big as they are when they're not the government? How are they? It doesn't make any sense when you really start breaking it down. And the other problems I had is the emotional beats in that film just mirror the original Star Wars way too much. You've got a hero, now a girl, which was part of George Lucas's outline, on a desert planet. She finds a droid who's got secret information that has to get somewhere. She meets an old dude, a la Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Goes on an adventure in the Millennium Falcon. Gets her hands on a lightsaber. Realizes, hey, there's something special about her. She's got some powers. There's not Darth Vader, but there's another son who's that's turned to the dark side. Instead of Obi-Wan getting killed, it's Han who gets killed.
A lot of shit going down.
There's no Death Star, but there's a Star Killer planet. I mean, there's pilots going, to destroy it, looking for a weak spot. Even Han jokes about this, like these things always have a weakness.
Rehashing
it
some
completely.
Old...
There's a cantina scene in it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
It's
like redoing it all over again for a new generation.
And that's why I think a lot of people connected with it, because emotionally,
yeah,
it hit all those beats.
Yeah.
And this was very wisely done by J.J. Abrams. Yeah. All the things that we loved about the original Star Wars, it's all there.
Right.
Just different.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the story in the original Star Wars has been told in other films and other books and other stories, but it was just told differently. And it's the same thing. So I felt a little cheated after that. Like, it's not really a different story at all. It's the same damn story. And it's just done a little bit flashier.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Exactly. No.
And then, so I started to... I liked it at first, and then when the Blu-ray came out, I bought the Blu-ray, watched it again, and that's when I really just started to say, wait a minute,
Rewatches are...
And I don't read, once I've seen a movie...
Yeah.
Well, if it's a movie I'm really anticipating, I don't read spoilers. I'll watch the trailers.
Right.
And then usually after I've seen a movie, I don't like to read other people's opinions of it. I'll just kind of listen to what I think, and... if I catch a little bit of something here and there, interesting, I'll read it, but I don't go through forums and just read everybody's opinion. So I kind of fell out of love with it there, and I was curious to see what they would do with the next movie, which, oh boy, here we go.
It's just so stupid. Screw JJ. He just went back to A New Hope. Batman says Star Killer base was named after Darth Vader. Secret.
That's right.
Apprentice
from George Lucas's original script.
In
Star
the
Killer.
Force Unleashed games. Yep.
Well, actually, not even in the original script. In his original story, before he even made the first Star Wars film, Luke wasn't Luke Skywalker. He was Luke Starkiller. That was his original name. So the Star Killer kind of is a little shout out to even way back further than that game that you referred to.
Yeah.
So obviously there's people out there that feel the same way I do.
Right, yeah.
I honestly expected a lot of you to give me some shit once I got to these movies. I mean, because if you look, they're rated so high, they've made $8 bazillion.
Right.
And it sounds like people are agreeing with me.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't think anybody in there has given me any shit yet.
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, you're making some valid points, of course. I mean,
the big one is just the point of the Resistance being what it is, and the First Order being what it is, and how it's funded. How does it get that big when that should be the terrorist organization trying to come back and overthrow the Republic, and the Resistance should be like a huge standing army to confront that terrorist threat.
Yeah.
And that's not really what is being portrayed in these movies.
Yeah.
And we also find that Kylo Ren is the son of Han and Leia. And we don't exactly know all the whys and wherefores, but Luke was training him, and he turned to the dark side. And there's this character called Snoke, who we don't really know what the hell he is. He seems sort of Emperor-ish. Mm-hmm. In that movie, we only see him in hologram form. And obviously, he's the big honcho, and... Kylo is kind of like the little bitch.
That's kind of cool, but
and that's what The Force Awakens presents us with. And it ends on that huge cliffhanger ending where Jesus Christ, there's Luke Skywalker. What's going to happen next?
Oh, boy. And
what does happen next?
Well, I'll show you. On to Rogue One.
On to The Last Jedi, I hope.
The world is coming undone.
We're doing Rogue One next?
Yeah.
All right, Rogue One.
Rain
talk about that
across the galaxy.
We don't get Last Jedi. We get Rogue One next. Oh, because it's the next.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know how to destroy it.
If you're really doing this, I want your help.
Good.
Good. I've been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time.
We destroyed our home. I fight the Empire now.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks. There isn't much time. Every day they grow stronger.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
This is our chance to make a real difference. Are you with me?
That's gangster.
All the way.
That's a sexy
Rogue
woman.
One, a Star Wars story. So before we
That's
get
a
Last
sexy
Jedi,
woman.
we get another little Star Wars treat.
We do.
Because we had heard that Disney was going to create little one-off Star Wars films. And the first one we got was called Rogue One, which deals with the rebels that steal the secret plans of the Death Star and get them to Princess Leia before the original Star Wars film.
And I really enjoyed this.
It was not a bad film
I
at all.
really did.
I kind of feel like we just didn't get to know the characters all that well because you know how the movie's going to end. You know they're not going to make it. It had some interesting locales. There were a couple parts in the trailer that weren't in the final film that disappointed me. The one where she's marching right towards that TIE fighter with that laser gun.
Right.
And there's a part in where she just says, "I'm a rebel. I rebel." And I thought that was just so balls. You know, I wish that had stayed in the film. There was some rumblings that there was a lot of reshoots and things with this movie, but every movie has reshoots. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. But the one-off Star Wars films have not been horrible-ish.
Solo you enjoyed too a little bit?
Well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to suck its dick yet. But Rogue One, for what it was enjoyable. Got to see... The one cool thing about Star Wars movies, there's always different locations, different locales, and it's interesting to see that. There were some cool throwbacks to the original. There was even some cut footage from the original Star Wars film. Some of the characters from the Death Star attack made appearances in the Rogue One attack. We got Darth Vader doing Darth Vader shit. We had Peter Cushing return to a film.
Mm-hmm.
He was CGI'd, and his voice was nothing like Peter Cushing's voice. But by God, it was... You could almost bring a tear to my eye seeing Peter Cushing on the big screen again. And then we got a CGI'd Princess Leia at the end. And neither of these looked that great. From what I understand, all the actors that have portrayed Star Wars characters have been created in CGI form for future movies.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the rendering gets a little better. And that's the problem I have when you do things like that in a movie. In 5 years from now, that movie's not even going to look that great, you know, with that. But the story was kind of cool. Like I said, we're in politically correct Hollywood now. So the hero has to be a woman, which I don't have a problem with. But, you know, there's the black guy, there's the Asian guy, there's the Hispanic guy, there's whatever that one guy was, French or Middle Eastern or whatever the hell he was. You know, there's got to be like one of everybody in there to make everybody happy. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's just I have a problem when Hollywood does it for some reason because I feel like they're being disingenuous. I feel like they're trying to tell me that it's right instead of me just knowing that it's right. I don't know why I feel that way.
No, I hear you.
You would think I shouldn't have a problem with that, and I don't. It's just whenever Hollywood does, I just feel like they're just being politically correct. They're not doing it to serve a story. You know, when Lando Calrissian appeared in Empire Strikes Back, nobody gave a rat's ass that he was an African American guy. Nobody cared. None of my friends talked about it and said, "Man, ain't it cool? There's a black guy in it."
Nope.
It's like now they seem to make a point to tell you. But
that's just what's going on in Hollywood altogether right now. But anyways,
it seems like they're the ones that have to teach us how to act.
Okay.
But I didn't hate the movie, and it was okay. It was pretty good, above average, I'd say.
Okay. Let's do Last Jedi then.
The one we've been waiting for. My God, what's going to happen?
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. Stormtroopers. And beyond that, something truly special.
Something
man
inside me has always been there.
He knows his shit.
Thank you.
But now it's awake. And I need help.
I've seen Miss Ross' strength only once beats
Too much power.
It didn't scare me enough then. It does now. Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
Leia's seen better days, man. Is that thing flying the ship?
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down. Come on! This is not going to go.
What? Is that a llama?
The way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
I need someone.
And it ends with those cryptic words, "The Jedi must end," in the one trailer there. So this is the beginning of my not just disappointment in Star Wars, my disinterest. Getting to the point, if you had told me
Luke Skywalker sucking on that teat, I mean, just got
he didn't
to
suck
me.
on the teat, but he put some milk in there and chugged it.
Well,
I know we all
right.
think he actually sucked it off the teat.
Yeah, it's in my head.
It's like in our head that he did it, but he didn't.
But I get it. Yeah,
it's like the people who say they saw the big scene in the original Star Wars and it just never happened. If you had told me 20 years ago that I would be disinterested in Star Wars, I'd have said you're crazy. If you had told me there'd come a time when I wouldn't even bother going to see a Star Wars movie in the theater, I'd have said you're nuts.
Yeah.
I'll be there day one. I did not see Last Jedi in a theater. I did not rent Last Jedi. I didn't even borrow it from the library. I found a website that was streaming it, and I watched it there illegally before it was on Blu-ray. While it was still in theaters, it might have been a screener copy.
Yeah,
it didn't have any logos or anything on it, but I watched it in the comfort of my own bed, and I had no expectations. I didn't read anything about it except for what was in the trailers, and I watched the whole damn thing. And afterward, I just felt something I hadn't felt before with a Star Wars movie. I felt, like even with the prequels, I thought, okay, I don't like them as much, but, they are what they are. This one, I just felt, I didn't have any expectations. I didn't know where the story was going to go. I'm not one of those people that post online, theories and, oh, the movie better do this and better do that. Let it take me where it's going to take me. But I knew this wasn't George Lucas's sandbox anymore. This is other people telling Star Wars stories now. This is other people telling the Skywalker saga now. And I wasn't 100% crazy with it. But I thought Force Awakens was good enough. I had no illusions that it was a flashier remake of the original Star Wars. But let's see if this was a flashier remake of Empire Strikes Back. It wasn't. And it just felt a little empty after. And I remember you and I talked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anything interesting in the... Nope, sorry. I remember you and I talked. And, Last Jedi had been out for a while. And you remember what you told me?
What's that?
You said you should go look at the YouTube videos of what Mark Hamill says.
Oh, yeah.
You told me to go look at what Mark Hamill is saying. So I went and looked at all these videos of Mark Hamill being very unhappy with the way that his character was written in the script. He did his job.
Yeah, a lot of people either hated or loved this movie.
I mean, he came right out and said, I've got fundamental problems with the way, the arc of my character.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
He's like, the only thing I can do is do my job.
Yeah.
And there were tons of videos like that. Some of them with the director Rian Johnson right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would see other videos, more recent videos of him not backpedaling so much as, just doing a little bit of damage control. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts he was told to do that. No, you cannot be saying this about, this movie.
Yeah.
But I think he really was disappointed with the arc of his character. And I don't need to go into it with you guys. I mean, the moment the film starts, when he takes that lightsaber and throws it over his shoulder.
Right.
I mean, something was rotten in Denmark. I'm like, that's...
Jedi wouldn't...
That's not the hero that, And, okay, it's not like there can't be a film where your hero is deconstructed.
Right, right.
But the reason that he does it is because, Ben Solo turns to the dark side. Okay, he sensed that there was growing darkness in him. Well, why didn't you intervene a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some damage control. He considers killing him in his sleep, and that's what causes Ben Solo to destroy, to kill his Jedi students and destroy the temple and all that jazz, and become Kylo Ren. There's these Knights of Ren. We don't even know what the hell those things are yet. That hasn't been explained. And he says, I shut myself off from the Force.
Yeah.
I come to this island, and I'm just going to stay here. Yet, while that's happening, this First Order is rising. Kylo Ren's running unchecked throughout the galaxy, killing people all left and right, leaving his sister to pick up the pieces with this resistance and try to restore some kind of balance. And he's just out of the picture. I mean, it just doesn't seem like a very good brother. Or the hero that we knew. I mean, Luke was a very optimistic character, saw the good in everybody, and was willing to sacrifice his life to show his father that, you can be a good man again, and succeeded. And it just didn't ring true. So I had a serious problem. I had a fundamental problem with the way Luke Skywalker. And I don't mind having my heroes fail.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, if it's done correctly, and I don't feel it was done correctly. And I'm not sitting here saying I can make a better Star Wars movie.
Right.
And I don't, I'm not here to tell you what I think the movie should have been.
From the moment Luke threw the lightsaber over his shoulder, the movie was screwed.
Yeah. I mean, see, you guys agree with me. So where are all these high scores coming from for this movie?
Again, a lot of people really, really love it. And then there's some people who just hate it. Yeah. So that's what you get.
It's not so much hate. It's just it's that
disinterest. I mean, I don't know.
I just feel like it's not. It wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
Star Wars wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah. And yet we're gonna anticipate this last movie.
I won't go see it in the theater probably.
No,
I probably won't.
Wow.
Unless my kids want to go, then I'll go.
Okay.
But I don't have any expectations. I watched the trailer. I mean, I have ideas of where it's going to go, and I've read some ideas. Yeah. I stumbled across that, thing I mentioned earlier in the podcast. Some other problems I had with Last Jedi, I mean, just the big ones, the whole Resistance and First Order. Princess Leia gets blown out into space and doesn't die like within 30 seconds as you would have if you're in space. She uses the Force to. I like everybody online called it kind of like Mary Poppins herself back into the ship. There's the whole Luke being the Force ghost at the end. I mean, that was a badass scene when Luke shows up. And tells Leia, no one's ever really gone. He gives her Han's little dice from the Millennium Falcon. I mean, how did he do that if he's a Force ghost? We find out later.
Right.
Or a projection. Mm-hmm. And he goes out there and all of a sudden he's got short hair, a darker beard, and he's got a green lightsaber. I don't know where the hell he got that lightsaber from. Yeah. But he's standing there's all these AT-ATs and Kylo Ren says, kill him, and when the dust settles, he's still standing there. Mm. I was like, oh. Now I started to get interested there. Like, this is this is what I want to see. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say expected. My interpretation of what Luke would have become would be, a super Jedi, like able to just, lift mountains with the Force. Right. That's kind of what I thought he'd be doing on that island, just studying the Force. Oh, yeah. And, the outline kind of sounded like, a girl named Kira was supposed to find him and want to be trained, and he was a recluse like Obi-Wan. Right. We didn't know the reason he was a recluse. But I thought maybe he would just do it just to study the Force, be down with it and shit, and I could just picture him sitting there on that island, just a mountain lifting out of the ocean. Really just being the most powerful Jedi that there ever was. Yeah. That's what I could envision.
No, that's perfectly said.
And when that happens in Last Jedi, when the smoke settles and he's standing there, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, this is it. And then that little weasel jumps out, thinks he's going to fight with Luke with that shoddy lightsaber of his that, spits out the sides and all that, which is kind of cool. Yeah. And they have that big lightsaber battle, and then when he goes to cut him, realizes it's a freaking projection. It's not even really Luke. And then Luke's, I do dig the image of him sitting there meditating and floating. Mm-hmm. But then what? Did that kill him? Did doing that, projecting his image across the galaxy or next door to the next planet, wherever it is, did that really kill him? And he becomes one with the Force? At least he disappeared.
Me and you both agree. We don't care too much for this movie, so.
The Jedi. I don't know if the tree, whatever that thing. That's Yoda. The Force Ghost Yoda destroys that. Yeah. But we do know that Rey escapes. I shouldn't say escapes. She leaves the island that Luke was on with these Jedi texts. The first books I think we actually see in a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. These ancient texts. Yeah. Some of them I would presume that Luke has probably added some knowledge to them. Mm-hmm. But we don't know that. And I don't even know where our characters are left.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Luke's gone. Whatever. We've got this Rey who's had a lightsaber for all of 15 minutes, and she can do these incredible things. Yeah. I mean, whatever. I mean, how long did Luke train before he could do incredible things? I don't know. She just can do more incredible things. Yeah. And she's not a Skywalker, as far as I know. Mm-hmm. I know there's some debate about her parentage. Everybody wants her to be related to someone important. Yeah. I think it's better that she probably isn't. She's a nobody. I think that would be better. Yep. I got to mention that Snoke is killed. They kill Rey, or actually, Kylo Ren kills him. He tells Kylo to kill Rey, and after they kill Snoke, they fight the guards and escape together. They form an uneasy alliance there for a moment. Mm-hmm. And Kylo's kind of wanting he and Rey to join forces and rule the damn galaxy together. Yeah. But this is also the first Star Wars movie without a big lightsaber battle. There's lightsabers in it. There's some fighting with lightsabers, but there's not a lightsaber battle. Right. Except for that little bit with Kylo and Luke at the end, and it doesn't last very long. But there, you just would expect a little bit more lightsabers. I mean, you have them.
The title, The Last Jedi.
But
anyways.
So there's, I don't know. It was the first time I felt like a Star Wars movie. It wasn't for me anymore. I didn't change. I still love Star Wars.
Right? No, same here.
I don't. It's not. I don't want to say that it has to come from George Lucas to be legit, because he did do the prequels and he made plenty of mistakes there. But it does feel more legitimate when it comes from him. Right. These are just, these are fans. This is like, you and me being hired by Disney to write a Star Wars story. Where do we think Luke would be? Where do we think Princess Leia would be?
Yeah.
So now we've got Rise of Skywalker coming, and the sad thing is, even though George Lucas provided outlines, they didn't use much of them. And now Carrie Fisher has died, unfortunately, a few years ago, and she was presumably to be a big part of Rise of Skywalker, and now they can't do that because they didn't plot out their trilogy.
Right.
They did the first movie, then Rian Johnson came on. There was a script written by Lawrence Kasdan, an outline, who has written, for lots of great films and has been in the Star Wars universe before. And that was thrown out, crumpled up, thrown away, and I'm going to write Last Jedi. And, there was not a whole lot of, working with the director for the, you're trying to work with the director for the next film, the director of the previous film to make sure everything flows good. But, these 3 films weren't plotted out first. It's like, let's hurry up, get the first one out, and we'll worry about sequels later. And now Carrie's gone, and now what do? You got to use leftover footage, because they said they weren't going to CGI her, out of respect, I guess. And I guess it's okay to do a younger version, though. But they're going to use leftover footage from the other 2 films and cram those in there and try to make a story with it. And that don't seem right.
No.
So
they should put Rose Tico in a slave outfit in this one.
Hey, you know what? I don't mind curves. So I mean, I ain't afraid of little flesh.
There you go.
I'll take it. But I'll take what I can get. Yeah, there's I didn't even mention her because she just seems like a nothing character to me. Same as like with Finn, really too. He's just kind of like a nothing character. Every time he's there, it's just to make a joke or something. Yeah. Like in Force Awakens, you got a boyfriend, cute boyfriend, or, I think 2 times in Last Jedi they use...
2 times.
Colloquialisms that are more in not really Star Wars, like, that's a big-ass door, or, making a yo mama joke at the beginning. It's just... I don't know. Star Wars is a little bit more... Star Wars should be a little bit more elegant than that. But in the Phantom Menace we had stepping in poop jokes and fart jokes and whatever. But these 3 films are a little bit more elegant.
That's all you need.
Than those.
Yeah.
So, Last Jedi, a little disappointed. Yeah. Quite disappointed. But that's okay. Because I have these.
Yep.
And I don't have to fool with those other movies anymore. I'm perfectly happy with
You got those 3 and that's all you need.
And I'm okay with that because this is what I grew up with. This is what I loved.
Right.
This is what is cherished by me. Now, let's say that Disney, after Rise of Skywalker, decides to put out a massive Skywalker Saga box set. Everything. Yeah. All the movies. If they include legitimate, remastered, high-definition copies of these, I will buy it. I will buy all those stinky-ass movies to support a legitimate release of these. But if you do not release them, I have them. And in many cases, these look better than the Blu-rays that you have because these are from archival prints that people have owned. And they have been done with loving care by actual fans. So we'll see what happens after Rise of Skywalker. But we have one more to go.
No, we're done.
We have Solo.
No, well, meh. That's
Solo.
all I can say
I watched
about
for
that.
the first time yesterday.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
it was okay. It was a cool little adventure flick. But then you get Darth Maul in it.
I felt sorry for Harrison Ford in the movie. But anyways, go ahead.
The only point I needed to make about Solo is when we see Darth Maul in it.
Yeah.
If you did not watch these stupid ass cartoons, you wouldn't know that Darth Maul is still alive. You'd watch it and go, well, what the hell? Why is he still alive? And I do not think that the cartoons, the comic books, or the novels should inform on the cinematic movies.
Right.
That is wrong.
No, I agree.
The cinematic movies should be separate, and the other TV shows, cartoons can be canon, but they should not be doing things like that where people won't understand why a character is back.
Yeah, because not everybody going to see the movies are reading the comics. And
who's going to watch some stupid kitty-ass cartoon that's not even animated that well to begin with?
No, I hear you.
So, we have done an epic show on Star Wars. You guys listened to me talk for so long.
Yeah, it was Ted's Geek Out mostly, but I know
Dino's, he's tired.
Yeah. It's all right, man.
But if I didn't get to a question you wanted or a comment, just comment when this
Ted will
goes
answer
up.
it. That's
I'll
for sure.
answer everybody's questions. I promise. And for the 2 of you that will leave comments, thank you.
It's all okay. Hey, we got the rant.
You.
So
I got it out of my system. Now we'll go back to horror movies.
Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, appreciate everybody showing up, watching. Yeah, epic rant, huh? How about that? Mm-hmm. So until next time, man.